The final chance, the final opportunity at a North American Racing League title comes at one of the most scenic venues iRacing has to offer. Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache. Known for fantastic racing and high drama, Interlagos is a fan favorite in Formula One and is baking up a good finale for Juan Blanat, Gustavo Ariel, and Andre Melchers to settle the pro battle. But first up, Rob Rodriguez Jr. needs to go through the motions and officially claim the AM title as his over Diego Era and everybody else, Ilya Speaker, Brent King, Cott, Sonny Brown, and more. Hi, welcome to PitStopTV and the virtual Interlagos for the North American Racing League Season 3 finale. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV with JP Costa alongside. And from one of my personal favorites, two of them in a row actually, Charlotte and VIR, JP, from two of my personal favorites to yours all time, we're finally at Brazil and finally ready to crown some champions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm so excited, Andrew. You know how much I love this racetrack. I'm pretty sure everybody loves it. You know, it produces such fantastic racing in Formula One, Brazilian Stock Car, Porsche Cup, and now obviously at NARL. It's a beautiful day. It almost doesn't look like Sao Paulo because it's 99% of the time cloudy, but it's such a beautiful day, and it's a beautiful day, Andrew, to crown 3 champions actually tonight. One in the amateur class, one in the Pro-Am, and one in the Pro class.
Yeah, we have a lot to do this evening. Let's start off with your amateur points, and this is what we're talking about with this amateur point battle. Rob Rodriguez Jr., he's been so good this back half of the season. He was a little quiet to start and has been loud as ever the last few weeks. I think several race wins. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. He is here. He's been in top form, and he's atop the point standings by 27 over Diego, and I don't think that's going to be anything that Diego can overcome tonight. It would take a lot. Now, there are over 27 cars, just over 27 cars, so technically, Diego can still win this championship, but he would have to end up like Fabio Zamperlini that last time that we were here with North American Racing League in order for that to happen, and Fabio, in case you're wondering, out of Curva do Sol, was upside down. So it would take a lot for Rob Rodriguez not to win this championship.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be, I guess, the upset of the night if that didn't happen, but, you know, it's racing, Andrew. It's Interlagos. It's the finale of a championship. We've seen how crazy finales can be at NARL, especially with Fabio, actually. He will remember the crazy circumstances that led to his championship. So, you know, it's still far from over. It's very likely that Rob will get it. Obviously, he just needs to put a race together. He just needs to be safe, and he needs to make sure he finishes. And meanwhile, Diego, well, he needs to make sure, Andrew, he's on top of his game. He needs to lead every lap and obviously win the race with the least amount of instant points possible.
And he is third in practice. He's quick. He's only 2.5 tenths. Not even. He's 2/100ths of a second, just under 3/100ths of a second off of top time right now, set by Mike Braun. Mike Braun at a 1:33.145. Diego at a Mike at a 1:32.183, and Diego at a 1:32.210. So Diego's quick, but is he quick enough? Well, over in the pro side, we've got Pro and Pro-Am standings here. Juan Blanat at 287 points, 5 points ahead of Gustavo Ariel. Andre Melchers only 10 points back. Really, it's anybody's game. Certainly Andre comes in with a disadvantage. Gustavo and Juan nearly even, but Juan can still finish behind Gustavo and win this championship, and that's thanks to his run last week at VIR, where he was absolutely perfect once Andre gave him the lead, and Gustavo had mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that cannot happen for the 3 drivers. Juan needs to make sure he finishes close to Gustavo. Obviously, Gustavo and Andre, they both need to win the race, Andrew. They both need to finish as high as possible and hope that something happens to their competition. So it's going to be an interesting night. A lot of pressure on all 3 drivers. Juan doesn't have this in the bag at all. Unlike, well, in the Pro-Am side, Andrew, Paulo is looking really, really comfortable, just like Rob Rodriguez in the amateur class.
Yeah, Paulo Godoy looks perfectly set to take this championship. Only 3 points less than Rob's advantage in amateur. So, and with fewer cars that likely will turn up for the pro race, Paulo looks great. He looks absolutely set to take this championship over John Sedlak, who should stay second ahead of Reed Gibson, but that's not guaranteed. Even Scott Kimbrough's in the mix there. Blake Scott with the top 5 currently. And, you know, there's a lot that's going to change throughout the course of each of these standings, but we're pretty certain that each of the top names in amateur and pro-am will stay the same, as Bobby Flack goes fastest now in the final 6 minutes of practice. And talking about the track, JP, let's just go ahead and get right down to it. The moment I know you've been waiting for, the track map for Interlagos.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just a fantastically short racetrack, actually. It's one of the shortest in the F1 schedule, and it's definitely one of the shortest I think we have on iRacing. Obviously, each and every single lap is going to start on the front straightaway as you head into the big braking zone of turns 1, 2. Obviously, those are known as the Senna S's or S do Senna. Then obviously we head out of turn number 3, Curva do Sol, where you normally have the sun shining on your eyes. Then we go to the back straightaway, or the Reta Oposta. Turn 4, Descida do Lago. Between turns 4 and 5, obviously we're gonna have that sequence right there, and then we go uphill into turn number 6, Ferradura, turn number 7, Laranjinha, and then we head to turn number 8, and then Pinheirinho, turn number 9. As we head uphill once again to turn number 10, Bico do Pato, that's where Lewis Hamilton had his contact. A late apex, we could see some moves over there. It should be very interesting as we dive, literally dive mergulho on turn 11 to Junção, turn 12. Then obviously we had 13, 14 as we head uphill towards the pits, Subida dos Boxes. Then turn 15, obviously 13, 14, and 15, absolutely flat out for these guys, no problem whatsoever. And, well, Andrew, we're gonna see plenty of this track tonight. One 40-minute race, one 50-minute race, all of them on GT cars. It's gonna be lots of fun.
Now, in Portuguese, how would you guide your Brazilian friends around here?
Ah, interesting. Então, obviamente, né, toda volta começa na reta principal, né? Na freada a gente começa pelo S do Senna, curva 1 e 2, curva do Sol, curva 3, ótimos lugares de ultrapassagem, especialmente se você se alinhar para a reta oposta e a freada para a descida do lago, curva 4 e 5. Depois a gente sobe para Ferradura e Laranjinha, para a curva número 8. Ultrapassagem é possível, bem difícil, mas se você se alinhar na saída do Pinheirinho em direção ao Bico de Pato, você realmente consegue alinhar na linha de dentro ali, talvez uma ultrapassagem em razão da tangência da curva ser bem tardia. Depois o mergulho em direção à junção, também podemos ver algumas ultrapassagens ali. Depois, obviamente, pé embaixo, curvas 13, 14 e 15, ali só se alinhar na 12, tentar conseguir uma boa saída, não estender muito, porque a grama do lado de fora realmente pode te machucar, pode fazer teu carro rodar, e realmente não é nada disso que queremos hoje. But Andrew, well, that's pretty much a lap in Portuguese. It's been a while since I've done that. It almost feels weird somehow.
Well, it's good to have you here for it. It really is actually really cool to have a Brazilian, not only a native Portuguese speaker, but a Brazilian on, especially for a place like Interlagos. It adds to things, definitely. But enough about the track map. Let's get down to the track and see what these cars are doing on the track itself. Diego Ero, we talked about him being quick, and he is quick. He is currently in the 4th spot in practice. Let's bring up those practice standings on the left side of the screen. Looking good in car 77, but he needs to be better.
Yeah, he needs to be better. He needs to lead each and every single session. He needs to be the fastest. He pretty much needs Andrew to not have any competition whatsoever, doesn't he? It's going to be interesting to see how he fares out in qualifying. Obviously, the race, which is really going to matter. But we're just going to have to wait and see. You can see there, Brenda Luhier, the number 88 on that BMW, Andrew. And I feel like this is the time for us to see which car is dominant on each and every single class. So far in the amateur, well, one McLaren, one BMW, Bobby Flack in another BMW. Are we going to see a trend around here? John Kroom in a Mercedes, Diego obviously in that beautiful McLaren, Brent Kencott in a BMW, another BMW for Sonny Brown, the number 115. But I can see a few Porsches I've saw, but I haven't seen, Andrew, quite a few Ferraris just yet.
You really want to break the trend?
Yes, please. I knew you would come for it. I knew it.
We have got Will Coffey in a Ford. We've got a Ford in the field. You have no clue how hype I am to see a Ford GT in the field. Will Coffey, thank you for this. And I think Scott Reister might even be going for one in the pro race. Oh, this is refreshing to see. We've got a Ford GT out there. Oh, it sounds so good.
I can tell how happy you are. It's really good to see one. I can already see a bit of battle scars around there. It's maybe not the easiest car to drive. Definitely gonna have quite a bit of a challenge ahead of him, and won't he, Andrew? I mean, but it's fun, isn't it?
It's a great little car. If you know what you're doing with it, if you have open setup, you know, you can generally make it pretty quick, actually. It tends to be right in the middle of this GT3 field on iRacing, but I think with the fixed setup and the high track temps today, it's going to be tough. And you see 97 degrees track temp, 73 in the air is not too bad. So the amateur guys, they have it nice so far. But yeah, Oh, I love seeing a Ford GT in the field.
It's absolutely lovely. Track temp obviously a bit high, kind of what we expect from Interlagos. And Andrew, I think the moment iRacing really implements, weather, especially rain, I think we're gonna.
I'm going to stop you real quick.
Okay.
Somebody, James Colborn, thanks for mentioning this one. The top 20, let's see, 27 are within a second in practice.
Ooh.
I didn't notice that at first. Thank you, James.
Oh, wow,
yeah. The top 27 are within a second. That's just in practice. We'll see how that goes in qualifying.
Yeah, that could make things a lot more interesting, because that means, Andrew, if you have a mistake and everybody's pretty much within the same second, you're gonna find you're gonna have a really hard time trying to get those positions back, because everybody's gonna be on the same pace. We're not gonna have a massive difference in pace that is gonna allow the drivers that are up in the front, to essentially fly by those further behind. So it would make it very, very interesting as we now take over into qualifying. But just quickly mentioning the weather point, Andrew, as soon as iRacing implements weather, and if it's, region based, I feel like we're readily going to see sun in Interlagos. I think we're just going to see rain and monsoons and whatnot.
We'll have to wait and see whenever, if ever that happens. Here's Bobby Flack in a BMW. You saw Blaine Sparling in a BMW. John Kroom in a Mercedes rolling out there for Rockefeller Racing. Milan Harris in a Mercedes as well. Sean Patterson here in an Audi as per usual. Diego in his McLaren as we saw earlier. And Mike Braun also in a BMW. How about James Colborn, who is in the field, also in a BMW today out of the state of California. Chris Winstone in his Ferrari, as we've seen all season long. Avon Dorsey in a Porsche, which we've seen for most of the season, if not the entire season there. Rob Rodriguez Jr., of course, our season point leader, and likely to be season champion here in about 40 minutes or so in a BMW.
Looking really good as well. And Andrew, I think we're just missing a Lamborghini, if I'm not mistaken. As you can see, Ronaldo in his home race in a BMW. I think we're only missing a Mercedes. Dominic Angelico in his usual Porsche with that beautiful paint scheme. I absolutely love it. Clarence Rosa in a Ferrari. Austin Hodel as well in a Ferrari. So I like this in even balance. Kenneth Michael in an Audi. T. Gashburn as well in an Audi.
He's been in a Mercedes much of the season, so to switch back over into an Audi is very interesting, especially with the higher track temps. Ilya Speaker today in a BMW out of Pennsylvania. Marco Garcia in car 23 in a BMW. Brandon Louvier, of course, in a BMW. Scott Angelo out there in a Ferrari. Zach Rosar in a Ferrari. You might be right. We might only be missing a Lamborghini today. I'm trying to think. We've got a Ford. We've got a Ferrari. We've got a Mercedes. We've got a BMW. A Porsche, a McLaren, an Audi. We're only missing a Lamborghini. Wow.
What did you think of that? We have a Ford and we don't have a Lamborghini. It's quite the day.
Man. Will Coffey, I love you. This is fantastic.
A true legend.
David Stevenson out there in car 13 is in a BMW tonight. Won last week, and certainly I think one of the best finishes we've ever seen on PitStopTV. Just one of the best races as a whole North American Racing League has ever had, and so glad to have covered that. Congratulations once again to David Stevenson. We'll see what he can do today in qualifying, and of course the race. Here's Armando Bejaran in a BMW. Sonny Brown, we saw him in a BMW. Philip Badurka, BMW out of Florida. Jeff Castillo, Ferrari out of Florida. And Nicholas Sykes. Oh, we got two! Oh. We've got two Fords! Nicholas Sykes out of New England. Yes, I was so ready to say he's back in his Ferrari as per usual. Yes!
How about that? Pretty nice to see yet another Ford. This one looks like it's a bit more camouflage with the black. It's kind of hard to see the lines, but I mean, hats off. Now we have a competition against the Ford to see who's going to do better, Nicholas Kais or... Oh, I forgot his name already.
Will Coffey, yeah. Will Coffey and Nicholas Sykes going after it.
Yeah, there you go. So we're going to see how the qualifying pace is. As you can see, times are starting to fall back in. We already have 5 cars within the same second, but with still 6 minutes to go, Andrew. I feel like these drivers are only going to have all 3 laps to do it. It's quite a short track, but it takes a bit of a long time to go in a GT3 car.
On board now with Rob Rodriguez Jr., 4/10 off, but he's 4th place so far, and obviously that's going to change. We got Mike Braun, Avon Dorsey, Brent King caught some heavy hitters on the way. Still in 4th place as a few more times come in. A 1:32.555. That's not too bad. That time is going to be decent for the race, but we're going to have a few more cars stacked in front. It seems like the field is remarkably close today.
Yeah, which is really good to see. Obviously, it's definitely not what Diego, I think, wants. Maybe could be his blessing, but, I mean, only time will tell. Currently, he's doing what he needs to do, which is, you know, just stay ahead of Rob Rodriguez. But unfortunately for him, he's 3/10 away from pole.
I believe the only McLaren in the field, has been all season. Really love that Diego sticks with this car. This is just a fantastic car. And you know what? It can perform as well. It's not just one of those meme cars like the Ford has turned into, even though the Ford can be okay. The McLaren is quite potent at some tracks, and I have no clue if that's going to work out today. But there are some narrow portions, and I think there's a wide variety of what you need out of a car here at Interlagos. You can't have it set up just for high speed. You've got to have it set up to turn through 8 and 9, for example. You've got to have a car that'll turn, and the McLaren will certainly do that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those tracks that I feel like it could be a bit of a testing track, Andrew.
Yeah.
You have the massive straightaways, you know, they're just going to test the drag in the air of the car. Then obviously you have high-speed corners, just like turns 1, the Senna S's, and obviously the complex of turns 4 and 5. And then obviously you have the middle sector, which is pretty much all slow-speed corners to test out, you know, your car's balance, if it's understeering, oversteering, and how the car is reacting. So far, Diego, I don't think he improved actually on his lap. The man who did improve was Rob Rodriguez, which is, I mean, really good by a few tenths. And Garcia looks like just jumped up to second place, I think. Less than a tenth. That's a good lap right there.
Only a few drivers have yet to set a time. Alan Dobbs, Billy Bowerman, Joshua Lyon, and Philip Paterka. Here's Joshua Lyon in a Porsche tonight. Has been, I think, since joining the series at Red Bull Ring. And Lyon will go... Oh, he's beginning his time. How about that?
Yeah. And 22 cars within the same second so far in qualifying. 22.
And that includes Will Coffey.
That includes the man himself. So he's doing a really good job.
This shot tells you everything you need to know about the Ford GT, by the way, in iRacing. You've got a classic circular steering wheel in this Ford GT. If we were to go to the other GT3 cars, you can kind of see it there on the left side, be it the BMW here with Mike Braun, or let's see, Diego Era, even with his McLaren. Let's see, bring that up. Yeah, that's a racing wheel. Will Coffey, yeah. I mean, it tells you everything.
Don't even have round wheels anymore, so
yeah,
time flies, I guess. But yeah. Really good to see. We're going to have to see if he improves on his lap. Now he just darts straight into the pit lane. And I wonder, Andrew, if the high track temps are not allowing drivers to go for more than 1 or 2 fast laps. Garcia definitely wants to improve, but looks like it's not going to be the case. He goes around 0.7 of a second slower. And yeah, Interlagos, it's a bit of a tire. It could be a tire-eating track as well, so we could see a few drivers struggling with that as well.
A weather update for you. It's gotten maybe a little bit warmer, 97 degrees track temp now, and the air temp is rising ever so slightly. So I think we're working into mid-afternoon currently in the sim. Emerson might be able to confirm that if he's listening, but we're definitely working into a hotter part of the day. The temps are only going to go up.
Yeah, absolutely. So far, for the Celsius guys, it's 36 degrees Celsius, so it's quite a hot track. And if it gets hotter, it's definitely going to be even more of a challenge to get these cars slowed down, turned in, especially at the end of the race, and especially at the beginning as well, Andrew, with those heavy cars, full fuel tanks, and we're just going to have to wait and see who can adapt the best. But so far, I mean, the number 6, I mean, I think that's going to be Speaker's first pole, isn't it?
I believe so. I can't confirm 100%, but I believe so. I don't think I've ever seen Ilya Speaker atop the scoring pylon at all this season. So a big qualifying effort here as we've got 35 cars ready to go racing in a few moments. Here comes Nicholas Sykes back to the pit lane. A bit off pace in his Ford this evening, but good to see him in the Ford regardless. Gary Corcoran still in a Ferrari tonight. Dominic Angelico, we saw him. Here's Joshua Benjamin. Hey, we got a Land. We have all 8 manufacturers. Yes, Joshua Benjamin. Yes.
Coming in clutch, and looks like he's just gonna, I think he's gonna improve his lap. Does he? No, I think he invalidated. Or he improved. I think he improved, but either way, he just sits just shy of a second behind Speaker. Joshua Lyon now looks like he's gonna be finishing up his flying lap with just 1 minute and 10 to go. This is gonna be his last attempt. And he crosses the line at 132.854, which is gonna set him 18th. So there you go.
That gives us 24 cars within a second.
That's a fantastic right there. That's really impressive.
Here's Dominic. He's on extra laps now. The only drivers that would be able to go for another lap would be Joshua Lyon, Austin Hodel, Brandon Louvier, and Billy Barrowman, but none of them are going to be able to. The only one of those moving is Joshua Lyon, and, well, we already saw he's not going to have enough time to get back to the line. Dominic on lap 5, that's not going to help him.
Oh, okay, so he already finished up.
Yeah, he's on extra laps.
Oh, yeah, so unfortunate for him. He's going to start 27th. That digital display makes it a little bit easier for me. But it's still, he actually is tied, Andrew, with Roberto Carlos for a time. So quite impressive over there to see a 1 minute 33 lap time tied to the 1,000 at least. But he's going to come back to the pit lane. And this is something that could catch the drivers out as well, Andrew. The pit lane at Interlagos, you're coming in at full speed. Obviously, you're braking up slightly uphill, but you could misjudge that braking zone.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, excuse me. It's been a long day of broadcasting already, but yeah, absolutely. The pit lane here is going to be a little bit interesting, especially drivers either peeling into pit lane or staying on the racetrack. I think that's where these guys will really get caught out today. That tends to be just a bit of an issue. Now, where are these guys gridded on track? They are gridded. Oh man, I'm actually not really sure where that is. Is that out of the Interlagos? I think we got enough time here to go through the full grid. On pole, Ilya Speaker, car number 6. What a fantastic run for him. I'm astonished. Ilya's been good this season, JP, but not this good. Not pole good. This is really, really cool to see Ilya Speaker on pole this evening. Marco Garcia will start from second place. Starting third, Bobby Flack in car number 106 has been pretty solid this season. I think consistent certainly would explain it. Brent Kingcott in a BMW will start from 4th, also consistent this season. Sonny Brown starts from 5th, and there we go. Rob Rodriguez Jr., season championship leader, likely going to be our season champion, will start from 6th place tonight. Diego Eder will start right behind him in position number 7 in car 77. Billy Barrowman will roll off from the 8th position, and your back row here in your top 10 will go to Mike Braun and Brandon Louvier.
Row number 6, we're going to have on the inside Avon Dorsey in the number 7 and the number 199 of Zach Roser on his outside in 12th place. Row number 7 is going to start with John Kroom, not Josh Kroom, and David Stevenson, the number 13, our previous round winner. He's going to start in 14th spot. 15th goes the way of Austin Hodel and James Colborn, and his number 73 is going to start alongside him in 16th place. Row number 9, Andrew, we're going to have in the inside Teague Ashburn in the number 871 and the number 123 of Joshua Lyon in 18th place. There we go. In row number 10, we're going to have William Coffey and Milan Harris in 20th place.
Scott Angelo rolls off 21st tonight in the Maradness Ferrari with Chris Winstone alongside, also in a Ferrari 488. Row 12 will give us Clarence Rose in a Ferrari with Jeff Castillo in a Ferrari. And if you go back to row 13, that's where you get Joshua Benjamin in that lone Lamborghini with a BMW alongside him, Blaine Sparling. Starting 27th, that's Dominic Angelicchio in a Porsche, then Ronaldo Carlos in a BMW number 222, and starting 29th, you'll find Sean Patterson in an Audi with Kenneth Michael, also in an Audi.
Starting just behind them, we're going to have Armando Bejarano in the number 105 and the number 8 of Kerry Carlcon in 32nd place. 33rd, we're going to have Nicholas Sykes in that beautiful Ford that Angel loves very, very much, and alongside him, Philip Bederka in the number 70 on 34th spot. And the final car to line up is going to be Alan Dobbs in his number 16 machine, 836 spot. There you go.
You see the field warming up, getting their tires right up to temperature, and getting ready to go racing. 40 minutes, the distance for the amateurs here in the North American Racing League. Now imagine many of these guys are running their final 40-minute GT3 race in this series. Many, if not most of them, going to at least be eligible for promotion, I'd imagine, up to Pro-Am. I would say at least the top 5 have to go, right? They've been so good this season. Rob Rodriguez, certainly, Diego Eda, and so many others have been fantastic all season long, and certainly have to get some consideration here. We'll see exactly what happens, though, next season when that comes. Ilya Speaker on pole, Marco Garcia in 2nd, Bobby Flack 3rd, Brett Kingcott 4th, and we are already ready to go racing from Brazil. As the field comes down to the start-finish line, comes down to the start-finish straight anyways, the green flag will fly, and we're racing at Interlagos. Here's some crunching and crashing, 3, 4, 5 wide, and crashing just outside of the Senna S. I see Brandon Louvier over there and one other.
Yeah, you can see
more crashing! Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Massive crash out of Descida do Lago. Not Descida do Lago, out of Curva do Sol.
Yeah, this is just entering turn 3. This is on the exit of Senna S. Quite a tough spot. It looks like quite a few cars injured got collected over there. We can see a bit of separation. The top 10 looks like are still very close to one another as we head uphill right now into sector number 2, but you can see quite a few people, and you can see even more cars I think I saw going wide on turn number 4, but well, quite a hectic start we just got.
Our leaders through turn 9, already up to turn number 10. It seems like for these guys, the ones that were able to get away cleanly, it's going to be a relatively calm race. Already a lot of single file and separation.
Yeah, this is sometimes what you want, Andrew. That single file, that separation, that breathing room is exactly what you need, and you can see quite a bit of that already by the end of lap 1. But obviously, this could all change within an instant. Just a single mistake is all you need to, well, pretty much set yourself back quite a few positions.
You see our leaders around turn 15, headed back to the start-finish line. This will wrap up lap number 1. We'll allow the entire field to come up by the start-finish line, and then we'll go back and get a view as to what happened on lap number 1. See some side-by-sides there across the line, finishing up the first lap.
And you can see that gap, Andrew, that we had 24 cars within the same second. Unfortunately, we already have quite a few cars, 27 cars only, still on the lead lap. You can see a few extra cars going to the pit lane to serve a penalty. Quite unfortunate to see, but when you have so many GT cars going on such a tight part of the circuit, sometimes contact is inevitable.
Just a few more cars to wrap up lap number 1, and most of them headed down to the pit lane, so we'll go ahead and get a look back as to what happened on that first lap. Chaos, I think. Certainly it's one way to put it. So we do know that part of this happens with Brandon Louvier. What we don't know is how.
Yeah, obviously it's going to happen at the exit of turn number 1, actually, because we saw him spun around just before turn number 2. So follow this number 88 BMW right here.
Blue with red accents.
Yeah, the one focused on the camera. And I feel, Andrew, he's on the outside, so most likely, unless he moves to the inside, he got collected by someone or turned in. You can see 3 wide action. Diego Area, you can see darting on the inside. He goes quite wide
there, yeah.
Oh.
Wasn't King Caught that I believe might have been. Oh, was that Clarence? No, it wasn't Clarence Rose or no. Anyways, but I'm not entirely sure who that was, but you can see the pile up further on with Ronaldo Carlos involved. Will Coffey was in it. Wow.
Yeah, that second incident right there was a big one. Not a lot of room to avoid it, actually. You have the pit lane exit on the left and on the right. Well, you're pretty much not going to be able to turn in right there. So right now we're going to try to take a look to find out what happened. You can see 4-5 wide right there, Andrew.
Oh, they just stacked up, I think.
Yeah.
Joshua Lyon might have been at the center of the start of it. Yeah. Wow. No, it wasn't Joshua. That was a different Porsche. The same coloration. Who was that? Was that Kenneth Michael, potentially? Might have been Kenneth Michael.
Interesting. It's obviously difficult to find out due to how many cars were involved, but...
Wasn't even Kenneth Michael.
No.
I'm actually stunned. I don't know who that was. It was somewhere towards the middle of the field. I kind of see it here. Is that... I guess it was Joshua Lyon. I thought he got turned around worse. So there's the initial crash. Oh, he gets hit. And Mike Braun turns him around, and Joshua, I guess, is able to get going. But that's not so for the rest of these guys. Wow.
Yeah, at that point, unfortunate. It's such a tight part of the racing course, and a lot of them were collected. Just unfortunate to see that happen so early in the race.
Lap 3 has elapsed as Marco Garcia is now your race leader. Diego Era defending over Zach Rosar. David Stevenson there as well. Here's your leaders, though. Top 5 all in a row here, JP. This is not what we're used to seeing.
No, definitely not. But it's certainly good to see something like this. You can see now Bobby Flack. This is the view from the guy in 5th place. Ahead of him is the number 6 of Speaker, who Andrew started the race on pole, and unfortunately looks like it's falling back just a tiny little bit. And well, just ahead is the number 66, the championship leader, Rob Rodriguez, doing a fantastic race. 3 positions ahead of his closest competitor.
Yeah, Diego's fallen off a little bit, about a second back of Bobby Flack, 2.7 seconds back of race leader Marco Garcia. But Rob is holding perfectly steady here in the 3rd position, on board with him now as he follows Brent Kingcott. Got a little bit close into turn 10. Turn 12, you can see the top 8, 9, 10, all single file, a bit spread out further on back, certainly. As Milan Harris currently runs in that 10th position. Through the top 15, things are looking pretty good. And you know what? Kerry Corcoran, who's had a lot of trouble since joining this series mid-season, he's in the top 15.
Yeah, good job from him. Obviously, you love that livery, Andrew. I guess it brings back good memories, but I'm pretty sure a lot of these guys, they're, well, the ones that are on the slipstream range, I'm pretty sure, Andrew, they have turned on the pro mode of racing, which is just fuel save, take your time, be patient. If the opportunity comes, you go for it. But yeah, they look pretty orderly. Maybe we're going to have a battle between Speaker and Bobby Flack. But other than that, I'm pretty sure they're all fuel saving, just biding their own time. And I love that shot, seeing how low the McLaren is, Andrew, and how big it. Oh, Bobby Flack goes for a big move. Whoa, and gets massively hit from behind from Speaker.
Yeah,
and that's going to allow Diego Harry.
Parked it on Apex. Here comes Diego, goes on through at 5. Alrighty then.
There you go. So, yeah, now Speaker is going to have quite a bit of damage to the front end. That was a big hit. No.
See, the center of the nose is punched in a little bit, but it's not too bad, all things considered. There's certainly damage. There's a panel gap now between the hood and the nose, but it could be a lot worse.
Yeah, definitely. Luckily, no airbags on racing cars. That would have definitely set it off. But that's going to allow Diego Ari to get one more position. And unfortunately for the number 6, Andrew, falling back 2 positions right now. So, not... looks like qualifying pace was there, but the race pace, at least so far, isn't really there. So, really unfortunate to see. And, yeah, Bobby Flack, as you mentioned, parked it on the apex, went for the dive, but... oh, just did not carry any speed whatsoever through the apex.
Wrapping up lap 5. And this is a lot different to what I was expecting. I thought we'd have a little more side-by-side to start this race, especially with the amateurs with, you know, much less, I think, riding on this race than any of the races prior. Unless you're Rob Rodriguez or Diego Era, you may as well go, I think, balls to the wall, really. I could use even better terms there, but I think you may as well just go full send. Unless you're racing for a championship and you have something to lose, why not go out there and see what you can gain? As Armando Bejaran has a problem here on the Senna S. He drops down to 20th. Gets back going.
But yeah, I share your point, Andrew. Obviously, these guys, they want to finish the season on a high note, and I feel like most of them would like to go, just go for it. I'm pretty sure they would like to put a hammer down, you know, just lick the stamp and send it. But I think they're just playing the long game. They want to win, but they want to do it safely on the strategy side. As you can see there, Garcia taking quite a bit of a wider line. But yeah, I really wish we could see a bit more crazy move, just like Bobby Flack did, out of nowhere, just going to the inside. But we're just going to have to wait and see if that's going to be the case.
Here's Zachariah Rosar in position number 7, chasing down Elliott Speaker. Or at least putting chase, anyway. Elliott, of course, dropped down to this position after that incident last lap through, where Bobby sent it up the inside of turn number 4, stopped at apex, and Elliott didn't quite know what to do. Ran in the back of him and backed up now to Zachariah Rosar, who has a look into the inside of turn 1, but nothing there just yet. And how important, you know what would you say?
Oh no!
Rosar
I was just gonna say, he lined up that move perfectly. Speaker just had a bad run through turns number 1 and 2 and was definitely going to be vulnerable down into turn number 4, but unfortunately for him, a mistake on turn 2.
You about answered part of what I was going to ask. I was going to ask kind of what your, I guess, ideology would be for turn 1 here in Interlagos. Do you go for the kind of fake to the inside and then set up the rest of the downhill, or do you back up turn 1 and take that water line that we saw Diego use and really get yourself straightened out for 2 and 3 to get back to power as soon as possible? Which works for you best?
Both of them, actually, Andrew. I guess it depends on the position you have compared to the driver ahead, because we can really see a lot of overtakes happening on turn number 1, you know, just going to the inside, because it's such a late apex. You can really afford, you know, to really just dive down there. And obviously, you know, if the car just sticks on your outside, you can just back away a little bit and get a good line out of 2 to essentially line up for a move later on in turn number 4. So it's a sequence of corner that allows for plenty of overtakes. It allows for a straight get it done overtake, you know, just going for the apex and just I guess squeezing the driver a bit out. But obviously, if you want to line up, if you want to take a wider line from turn number 2, you can do that as well.
On board with Milan Harris, chasing James Colborn and just ahead of Avon Dorsey. Might honestly have to deal with Dorsey in a second. Dorsey, Nathan, does he look to turn 1? Looks, but backs out.
Yeah, that was close, but you can see drivers are willing to think about that move, Andrew, and just that small look can be enough to upset, you know, the driver ahead of you, because that's going to force him to look in his mirrors each and every single time down into turn number 1, you know, just to keep focused. And if you focus too much, you're going to lose your braking point.
Milan Harris holding this position. And that is 9th spot. A battle further back, Alan Dobbs and Chris Winstone side by side. They'll go down to turn number 7, or turn number 4. I don't know why I said 7, I guess because car 37 just took the spot, and car 16 just gave him a boot. And they soared on through.
Just to move right there, almost a bit of contact as well, so...
I think there was a little bit, but nothing that should damage either car.
And drivers need to be careful, Andrew, because 4Xs, you know, they can be easy to come by, and off tracks on this track as well, especially down into turn number 4. They're really easy to catch on, as we have a battle right here in Mergulho as we head into Junção. Turn number 12, looks like the Porsche ahead just got that position. That's Dorsey getting past Mike Braun.
Yeah, Dorsey was working on Milan Harris, so now Dorsey defending over Mike Braun is, oh no, Chris Winstone, who was just in a battle with Alan Dobbs, turned around on turn number 10.
That's going to cost him a few. Just unfortunate again to see these drivers spun around, and we're going to take a replay to see exactly what happened down here. So watch out, obviously, for the Ferrari. I wonder if there was a bit of contact. This is obviously lining up to that move. This is Pinheirinho, as now we're going to head on the exit and uphill, and he looks all safe. So I wonder if this was by himself, and he was.
Odd place to go around.
Yeah, really odd, and you can see the curb just hugging onto the car, and then he just reverses and he gets himself back going once again.
Let's watch that one more time. Up to turn 10. Oh, he was loose at turn in. The car was just loose the entire time.
What is the track temp? Did it increase?
I don't think so, but we've just had an issue, a big issue in turn 7, it looks like. We'll cover this first, as Milan Harris is giving us some of those moves we were just talking about. Well, this is Milan Harris on James Colborn. This was for 8th place.
Oh,
it gets better.
Yeah, the number 69 Mercedes, you can see, was a bit indecisive, looks like, on the apex right there of turn number 4. But as we head uphill, I think the move is going to happen just around here. You can see all the lines up. Oh, no.
Not a great passing zone.
No, that one is not a passing zone whatsoever. Unless you're already side by side as you head into that apex, you really don't go for that move.
Let's now come to a side-by-side battle for 2nd place. Brent Kingcott and Rob Rodriguez Jr. through Curva do Sol. They got side-by-side out of Subidos boxes, and they've stayed that way all the way now through turn 3, and Rob Rodriguez clears them.
Beautiful move right there from the possible champion to move himself up into 2nd place. As you can see, Kingcott doesn't really have a car there, but on the exit he might have something. Looks like not quite. Bobby Flack, Andrew, behind them, it's eager to maybe get a position right here, as looks like King Cod is not gonna have to go defensive. Breaks a little bit early, catches Bobby Flack out, but looks like they're all gonna stick to this position for the time being.
Solid moves here from Rob Rodriguez Jr. and certainly looking like he is going to wrap up the championship. At this point, I would say it's just about guaranteed, as Chris Winstone will leave the pit lane with his damage. You asked about track temp, JP. It hasn't changed much. In fact, it's dropped 2 degrees from qualifying.
There you go, interesting. So, yeah, just a non-mistake. The car was already loose in on the apex, as you mentioned. I thought the tires would be overheating, but I don't think we're going to get to that stage just yet.
I'm sure it's not pleasant for these guys. I'm sure it is still rather warm and potentially, overheating tires, but it's not as hot as we thought it would be.
Yeah, definitely not. I thought it was going to be hotter. Maybe on the pro race, we're going to see track temps getting a little bit more interesting, but only time will tell. And, we have one car in the pit. That's Speaker, it looks like.
Ilya Speaker headed down to the pit lane rather early.
So I wonder, this could be an undercut, but obviously Andrew, an opportunity as well to fix a bit of that damage.
Yeah, car 6 doesn't have much, but does take that fast repair. I guess just an early attempt to come in, and what this does do for Ilya, at least, is, it's an opportunity to cool the tires a little bit. It's not going to be a big difference, but an opportunity, I guess, to reset, get out of traffic, and just get back after it.
Another opportunity as well, Andrew. I mean, he could have been seeing that, the drivers ahead were just fuel saving a little bit, driving at a slower pace, and couldn't really get an opportunity to overtake. So this is an opportunity to just come back on clear track and trying to put some laps in to get, those overtakes. Obviously, if he encounters traffic, that's going to be a big challenge, but, it could work.
Austin Hodel and Zachariah Rosar. Rosar goes for a slide, catches it, keeps going, but we'll lose several positions, and Zach having a rough race already.
Yeah, a really rough race start for him. Actually, race start, Andrew, we're almost 20 minutes in already, so not exactly a race start, but yeah, a really rough going for him. And now he's just going to rejoin just ahead of Speaker, it looks like. So the number 6 needs to get past him as soon as possible to make sure that strategy can work out, and we're going to have to wait and see. Can it be done down into turn number 1, as we have even further battles right here?
Sonny Brown was that car that was involved in that lap 1 mishap with Louvier. Is Brown now working on Austin Hodel. This is for 11th position. Brown on the left side, and we'll have the inside for turn number 1. How do you reckon this one goes? Oh, with some contact.
I wasn't expecting that one.
Austin Hodel, hang on.
He does.
Oh, not in front of traffic, right in front of Sean Patterson. And Alan Dobbs goes by. Now there's a stack up. Zachariah Rosar's in it, and there goes Ilya Speaker. No! Gotta be aware when you pull in front of cars. Austin Hodel just said, nope, I don't care. Right back in front of all of you.
Yeah, he just needed to essentially just hug the white line on the outside, but unfortunately for him, he didn't, and big complications, Andrew.
Now, Ilya loses mostly time out of that. Doesn't get a whole lot of damage, but damage is still damage, and you don't want to incur any of that. You don't want to lose that time when you're on a strategy like this inside the top 5 if going on pole. So this is going to be massively detrimental to Ilya's race, and now following this group is going to be killer. I honestly, as Will Coffey's in this with his damage on the Ford. Got a car just behind Billy Bowerman, who is 6 laps down. I'm not sure why. This is going to be tough.
Yeah, it's going to just turn out to be a pretty difficult, and you can see the amount of damage he has, Andrew, right there. On the front and the back, actually, quite an extensive amount of damage on the back, so I wonder if he's going to come to the pit soon. I mean, he needs to get the damage fixed just as quickly as he can.
I think Will's had this damage since lap 1, though. As here he goes into the pit lane.
I'll just call that out accidentally. There you go. So, comes back to the pit lane. Be careful not to speed.
Follows Austin Hodel and Zachariah Rosar.
Yeah, so now we're going to have to see the fuel economy of the Ford, Andrew. I doubt it's very kind on the MPG.
I hadn't thought about that yet.
But, I mean, I'm willing to be surprised. Maybe it has a few tricks up its sleeve. A 10.2 second stop. Does he jump? No, unfortunately not. Zachariah Roser 8.58 and Joshua Lyon 3.7. Well, it looks like that was just
Oh,
as
Hodel missed
Austin
his box. No, that was a pass-through more than likely then
was a
for Hodel.
penalty.
He's already got a penalty. Wow.
Yeah, just those 4X, they really count up really quickly. As you can see, Zachariah Roser rejoining just ahead of Joshua Benjamin, and William Coffey is going to rejoin just behind Sparling. So, interesting. We're going to have to wait and see how the number 57 reacts now. Brand new car, I guess you can say. Same tires, but enough fuel to go to the end.
Mike Braun following Avon Dorsey, who's putting together a career day here in the North American Racing League. Really fantastic run so far, despite a little bit of damage and a couple of big moments. Position number 7. And that wouldn't sound as great as far as a career day in, you know, maybe a 20-car league, but when you're 7th out of 35 and you survive that kind of lap 1 melee, you drive through a couple of, drive past, I should say, a couple of cars and get a few more spots. This is a really good day so far for Avon. And we've seen Avon Dorsey in the series for a few weeks now, but not with a run like this. I'd say maybe around 15th or so, maybe even 25th at some tracks. To be in the top 10 like this is pretty solid.
Yeah, absolutely, and I could see even a little bit of damage on the front end of his Porsche, so there could even be more pace to come from him on the second part of the race, so it's going to be interesting. So far, Andrew, he's only seen... Oh, he actually dropped a few positions at the start, but you can see, he's as high as he got on the race. Obviously, the drivers ahead, they have around a 6-second lead on him, but, it's definitely possible to catch him up, and he's holding Mike Braun, which is a guy that we know very well, as we have one Ferrari. Is that Hodel?
That is Hodel back into the pits.
Oh, and he's taking tires as well.
Yeah, this time for service. Does take tires, as you mentioned. We might see a few more tire stops in this race from guys that just want to try and keep their car on track and potentially go for as low incidents as possible or what have you. So we might see some tire stops where we wouldn't usually. As the air temp is coming up, the track temp has actually dropped a little bit, I suppose, from having 4 fewer cars as King Cot goes fastest that lap. Purple. Wow.
Wow, interesting. Really putting quite a bit of pressure on Rob Rodriguez, using Rob as well. And Rob actually caught up around half a second almost to Garcia up ahead. So these two, Andrew, are running at a really strong pace right here. And if the pro race obviously is anything to go by, it could mean that Brent is, well, getting close to pitting. Putting out the fastest lap, maybe not fuel saving as much, just going for it.
On board here with King Cot. .5 minutes to go, and I really do enjoy just the opportunity to sit on board with these drivers sometimes and just listen to what they're doing. Here's Mike Braun. Now with 17 minutes to go, a lot of these battles seem maybe a little bit futile. It's just a matter of, do you want to push on these old tires, low fuel, or do you want to try and get them in the pit lane?
That's a good one, Andrew. I guess it's just gonna go driver to driver. I mean, it's just gonna be personal choice for these ones. Obviously, some of them we could see a bit more inclined to do something. And as you can see now, looks like Rob is maybe thinking about going defensive this early, Andrew. And that's just a sign that King Cot is really pushing, and you can see that gap is really coming down. And you can see one car exiting the pits. I'm not quite sure who that is, but he could interfere in this battle just by the tiniest of amounts.
That is
that
not
Hodel?
Nicholas Sykes. I think that's Austin Hodel. Yeah, it is. Oh, and right in front of King Cot. Not a great decision.
No, absolutely
That's
not.
That's certainly already a blue flag. You don't move in front of a lead lap car when you're already getting a blue flag, but hey, they get through it. All right, King Cot's able to get by.
Should have just lifted off the gas as soon as he got out of the pit lane. And unfortunately, that's going to create a bit of a gap between King Cot and Rob Rodriguez once again.
Didn't do much. Only a couple of tenths, but a couple of tenths are a couple of tenths, and racing drivers don't like losing even hundreds or thousands. So King Cot, I think, gets through that relatively okay. Now Bobby Flacken behind Hodel, and Austin will play nicely, maybe not. Yeah, leaves the inside of turn 10 open and lets him get on by. Now, there are some drivers in the pit lane. I got to find them again. They might have already left the pit lane, but most recently, guys like James Rod and James Colborn have been in. Here is Colborn into turn number 4, and Mike Braun also on his out lap. You can see he's gotten that damage fixed.
Yeah, in a 9.3 second stop, Andrew. That's longer than what we have seen, but it seems on the ballpark. 8.9, you can see Colborn, 8.3, so that's 1.3 quicker. So, yeah, just a few quick pit stops, a few extra safe ones. You can see Speaker, unfortunately, at 10. That's the second stop. I don't think he has stopped again, actually.
Yeah, no, he has not stopped again, but I was comparing the pit time. He's actually, he was in the pit lane longer than both Mike Braun and James Colborn, and he's in front of both of them. So it's not complete panic time for Ilya. He's ahead of cars that he should be ahead of still, but may not be as far ahead.
Yeah, so that's Sony Brown now. Well, fastest lap of the race. Oh, as we have one out of big trouble, and that's
Sean
just
Patterson.
coming up. Yeah, Sean Patterson, that's just coming up to some, isn't it? No, that's before. Wow.
Turn 9. Gonna look back at it here. So problems for the Audis today. Patterson now, oh yeah, just goes right around. But now behind T. Ashburn, who is really the only other Audi that we've seen aside from Kenneth Michael, who was 36th, and, or no, 30th rather, and 3 laps down. So the Audis definitely not doing well today.
Yeah, no, the Audis really struggle. I mean, in most tracks, if you really don't have it tamed down, it can really bite you and really fight back. So, quite unfortunate. As we still see Bobby Flagg right here in 4th place. Hendrick, he's just, I think he's just watching. You can confirm if he's fuel saving it at this stage or just trying to push and close the gap down. But these top 4, I mean, pretty much the same pace. I guess you can say Rob Rodriguez and King Cott, they have a bit extra pace. But, I mean, pretty much toe to nail? No? Head
to toe.
Head to toe, there you go.
Nose to tail, either way.
Nose to tail, there you go, thank you.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything abnormal. I really haven't heard much fuel saving from these guys on the IndyCar, but I'm sure there has been. I'm sure they're working with fuel mats if they're able, and certainly lifting a little bit earlier maybe, and short shifting a bit. Those are some popular ways to fuel save. As a big thank you goes out for the final time this season during an amateur race to RaceLab.app, Radness, Tam Livery, and JS Consulting. Such fantastic partners of this North American Racing League, providing some fantastic services. I mean, RaceLab.app, a huge help to a lot of drivers. I know a lot of drivers that talk about their third-party softwares, and RaceLab is right up there with them as one of, if not the best. And certainly, with a price tag of free $99, it really helps you, I think, make that decision of which one to go for. RaceLab.app has got to be part of your consideration if you're signing up for iRacing and want to use a third-party software to get the most out of it. I think definitely RaceLab.app has got to be right up on the top of the list. As here we go, King Cott comes down the pit lane. But Radness has to be one of your top coaching services that you have in mind as an iRacer at any point in time. New, experienced, or veteran, doesn't matter. Tam Livery, same thing from Haynes Schemes and JS Consulting. If you're looking to set up an iRacing league or already have one and want to elevate it, JS Consulting can help you do so. As here comes Avon Dorsey to the pit lane as well.
Oh, one driver, I think was the last minute decision not to come down to the pit lane, which is obviously very dangerous, as you can see now, a few of them exiting. And Andrew, I guess another point we haven't touched, it's the pit lane exit as well. It's quite tricky. It can really catch you out as the number 7. Still in the pit lane. This is a bit longer. There you go, 11.2.
Here's that pit exit you're talking about.
Yeah, you can see, you can really catch you out. And obviously the walls around here, if you just touch those grass, you're just gonna be understeering and head straight into the wall, and you can really get quite a bit of damage. And then you just rejoin straight into the back straightaway. But yeah, a fun little pit exit. I like it.
Joshua Lyon working on James Colborn. Lyon has not taken a stop for service in 17 laps. So Lyon still needs to come in. He came in then right after the incident at the start of the race and has not pitted since.
That's quite bold, but unfortunately, since the
pass
issue
the
is,
lead.
oh,
Garcia in the pit lane.
Ah, There you go. So Bobby Flack and Rob Rodriguez, they both continue. And Garcia is forced to pit early. Diego Arias is going to follow him. Interesting.
Diego's in for service and overshoots his blocks, and already a quiet day, but not what he needed. Yeah, it's going to go to worse. Diego just not the kind of run that he needed today, and at least seems to be playing it more safely on fuel than he has in some previous rounds, but what was almost a championship for him a few times throughout the season is going to come up to a second-place effort this season, it looks like.
And you know what the worst part is, Andrew? He's just right there in the lead battle. Yep. He's in 5th place, effectively, so the pace has been there, everything has been there, but unfortunately, just small mistakes like this, and Rob Rodriguez just shining tonight.
Rob now leading through the midsection of the, well, I guess the back end of the race inside the final 10 minutes because Marco Garcia pitted out of the lead and left him in the lead. Bobby Flack just behind, David Stevenson in 3rd. Of course, that'll all change. The top 3 have not pitted yet. Sonny Brown has not pitted yet, and Kerry Corcoran has not pitted yet. Corcoran in position number 8. Look at his Ferrari. Other drivers who haven't pitted include, let's see, nobody. Actually, Billy Barrowman hasn't pitted, so he is in for the first time. So here we go. Our leaders are finally in.
There we go. Now this is going to be a battle on the pit lane between these two. And you're going to have to see anyone gambles, Andrew. I expect Bobby to gamble. I don't see Rob, I mean, with any reason whatsoever to gamble on fuel. And 8.28. Just as I say that. Well, that's bold. Bobby, I think there's a small mistake on the pit lane. 11.0, and that's quite a long one. Stevenson at like 8.3. And I think Rob is actually going to come out on the lead with quite a gap.
It looks like it. Marco Garcia is behind Brent Kincott. A longer stop for Marco. Kincott, a much shorter stop, 8.1 seconds. And Rodriguez Jr. with the execution on and off the pit lane, 8.3 seconds.
And look at that. That's all translates to 2.8 seconds ahead of Kincott. That is a big gap, but unfortunately, Andrew, that work could be undone. He has quite a bit of traffic, and by a bit of traffic, I mean 2 cars battling for position, but that could really slow him down quite a bit.
Philip Pedurka and Nicholas Sykes just ahead. These guys are not quite for position. Pedurka's a lap down. Sykes the final car in the lead lap. And Sykes here is in a Ford trying to hang on to it. You can see he's got plenty of time back to Louvier, but we'll see how this one goes. We'll see if these guys play nicely or not.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see, especially on a battle this close, Andrew. You definitely don't want to have to lift for the competition, but sometimes you're just going to have to, and it's just going to be such a tricky scenario. Not only for Bobby, for the lapped cars as well, as you're going to try to navigate in. Oh, there you go.
Nicholas Sykes plays nice, but Philip Pedurka is holding station. Into turn 1, Rob Rodriguez Jr. still following the BMW. And at this point, I think Pedurka's got to be aware, give it up out of 3. He's already held him up a couple of tenths.
Yeah, just lift him out. You can see half a second almost, Andrew. It was 2.4. And, oh, be careful. A 1.8. That's going to cost him even a few extra tenths. And he's going to get the position over Nicholas Sykes.
They were not for position.
Ah, okay. So that makes a bit more sense. All right. I was scared because that was going to be a really interesting tactic right there. But there you go. The gap is once again rising now to almost 2 seconds. So what Rob Rodriguez faced, now it's going to be Kincott and Garcia times to face as we have this little battle right here. Oh, as we almost saw an incident right there, Andrew. And that's the tricky part of running side by side. Sometimes the GT3 cars, they're just going to snap out.
Will Coffey just had a problem. I'm not sure if it's been an issue on the racetrack or an issue with connection potentially, but we're watching Kerry Corcoran and Armando Bejaran following Joshua Benjamin and James Colborn. Colborn was in the top 10 for a long time and has since fallen back to 12th rather. Bobby Flack and Marco Garcia, this is your closest gap within the top 10 as they exit turn 13 behind Nicholas Sykes. Bobby Flack in 4th, Marco Garcia in 3rd. Marco led the entire open to the race, and I mean, we're talking about 30 minutes, and then suddenly is 3rd. That was close.
Yeah, drivers are taking quite a risky line, aren't they? They're really pushing the limits, but I mean, Garcia is pretty much just falling back a little bit. Andrew had the pace to keep himself up in the front, but unfortunately it looks like he cannot really follow Kincott and Rob Rodriguez at this point in the race, but Kincott is really closing in the gap.
Kincott's closing in just a little bit. You wonder if maybe Rob is having to save it. Sonny Brown goes purple at a 131.967. Sonny Brown is actually right on Milan Harris. This is a great battle. This is for 10th.
Yeah, this is a fantastic little battle right here. Fantastic little scrap. And we're going to have to wait and see. You can see Milan just lets him go.
Game recognizes game. Final race of the season. Not a whole lot of reason to hold somebody up right there. If they're faster, if they catch you for a reason, just let them go. I don't blame them.
To be honest, I would like to see a little better right there, but
sure. But from a driver perspective, last race of the season, I mean, if he catches you, he catches you, right? If he catches you from that far back, it must have been for a reason. He must be faster, and no reason to be all that aggressive. But you know, I agree with you. For entertainment purposes, I certainly would like some big battles here at the end. 4 minutes to go.
And we're going to have one.
3 laps to go this time by the flag stand. Here come our leaders. And it might even be only 2. We should get 3. Well, yeah, we should get 3.
Yeah, it's going to be close. But I'm interested in seeing these battle right here, Andrew. With 3 or 2 laps to go, Bobby Flack is running out of time. He needs to close this gap ASAP to Garcia up ahead to try and get the podium position. He's running out of time. He needs to get the gap closer. It's not close enough.
Once again, Marco led so much of this race, 18 laps out of the projected 26. Just a slower pit stop. Took a little more fuel. Maybe a little bit slower on pit exit. And has put himself in a position to lose this race, unfortunately. Had a great race going. It's been fantastic as more of these Mitham Motorsports drivers join the series, but it's not going to be enough, it looks like, for a race win as Rob Rodriguez Jr. continues to lead today. Took this lead at the pit stop, hasn't looked back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just a champion's drive, isn't it? I mean, I think that's the bottom line. He was there. He didn't take it easy. He was pushing. He tried to go for moves. He went for moves, and, well, it's all paying off.
Good look here at Rob Rodriguez Jr. as he comes around turns 13, 14, and 15, headed through Subito dos Boxes. And he will have just 2 laps to go at Interlagos to claim a series championship in the North American Racing League. Fantastic, fantastic runs all season long here.
2 minutes to go, Andrew. If you're winning a big championship like this, I mean, what's going on through your mind? Do you think he's just on focus mode? You know, just getting the car to the end of the race? Or do you think he's already, you know, starting to get a bit hyped up, starting to get a bit excited? And I mean, for this guy right here, it's just a few extra laps for you to unfortunately come so close to a championship after doing such a good run. But it's not going to be enough, unfortunately.
What Diego has going for him here is he's catching 5th place and likely has a chance to get by David Stevenson for this position. Not going to win the championship, not going to win the final race, but if he goes top 5, that's some pretty good consolation. And looks like he'll have at least a chance to do so as Stevenson is in 5th. This will be a good battle here at the end. Alan Dobbs back into the pit lane. Zachariah Rosar as well. Some issues with the fuel calculations. Terry Corcoran working on James Colborn as Rob Rodriguez Jr. will come around. And here in just a few more moments, we'll begin the final lap at Interlagos.
Yeah, just a few more corners to go, just a few more miles for him to be crowned this season amateur championship. Had a fantastic season going for him. Had a fantastic drive today. I mean, just had the pace absolutely on point for him. And just like that, Andrew, he's going to see the whole crowd. He's going to see Barney, the flagman, waving the white flag to declare him just a few miles short from being the champion. And look at this battle right here. For 3rd place, Bobby Flack is going to be looking to the outside of the Senna S's and he's gonna try to go the long way. It's not gonna work. Can he line up Garcia for maybe on the exit? You can see he gets a pretty similar exit, actually a better one. Now he's gonna be using the slipstream down into turn number 4. Will he go to the outside or the inside? He's gonna be forced to go to the outside. It is possible to make a move around there. We have a bit of a blank, looks like, and Bobby Flack goes to the outside, side by side between those two, no contact whatsoever. The 105 gets the position.
Maybe not. It's not over just yet. Side by side up to turn number 6. Marco Garcia around the outside, hangs on, restricts the exit there for Bobby Flack just enough to make this a battle all the way up to turn number 8. And now I think finally Bobby Flack takes the position. Yes, he does. Behind these guys, Stevenson and Era. Diego not able to do anything just yet with David Stevenson. Now might be too far back to do it. Wow. And Rob Rodriguez Jr., through the final few corners, will go down to turn number 12, and then it's the final braking zone. In the North American Racing League amateur season, Rob Rodriguez Jr. will be a champion as long as he makes it back to the start-finish line.
What a drive he had so far, Andrew. Just a few more corners. No Timo Glock to spoil his party right here. But the number 66 crosses the finish line to be this season amateur champion.
Congratulations to Rob Rodriguez Jr. A season well done. The rest of the field to come across the line. Here goes David Stevenson just ahead of Diego there. Ilya Speaker will take a 7th place effort. Still not bad as one other blank there. Still some fantastic racing going on as some of these guys come back to the line. Armando Bejaran within a second of Joshua Benjamin, but not able to make a battle out of it. Alan Dobbs and James Colborn. Colborn, I think, is blinking a bit. They're close. They might battle. Ashburn and Hodel here. This is for 20th. They might battle. But back up to the start-finish line. Wow. The amateur season coming to an end here.
I mean, and what a season we had, Andrew. Oh, someone looks like... I thought he was running out of fuel, but I don't think that was the case. But, I mean, what a fantastic season we've had. Such fun moments. Unfortunately, big incidents we had, but, I mean, fantastic racing week in and week out.
Only a few cars left to come across the start-finish line. Sean Patterson, one of them, then Teague Ashburn. Austin Hodel, oh, right across the line, just like that. Dominic Angelichio will be next up, then Jeff Castillo and Kerry Corcoran dropped down to the 24th position after what was a very promising run. Things just kind of fell apart for car number 8. Jeff Castillo comes across the line, or will come across the line, in position 23. And there is Kerry Corcoran to wrap up the season, the final car to the start-finish line. Nicholas Sykes goes 26th, Brandon Louvier 27th, Will Coffey 29th, and Kerry Corcoran finishes our season.
Just like that, the season is over, Andrew. I almost cannot believe it. We've done this time and time again, but...
Go ahead and go back and get a look at our race results this evening first off, then bring in our race winner, Rob Rodriguez Jr., 6/10 over Brent Kingcott. Nice and easy battle for him. Again, I mean, it's definitely a surprise with what happened with Marco Garcia, but no surprise that Rob Rodriguez Jr. was there to at least capitalize on the issue. Garcia goes 3rd, Bobby Flack goes 4th tonight, David Stevenson 5th, Diego Eda there in 6th place, Ilya Speaker 7th, Mike Braun 8th, Avon Dorsey 9th, and Sonny Brown completes a stacked top 10.
11th place goes the way of Milan Harris, ahead of Joshua Benjamin and Armando Bejaran in 13th. Chris Winston is going to finish 14th ahead of Alan Dobbs. Zachariah Roser is going to finish in 16th ahead of Blaine Sparling. Sean Patterson ahead of Teague Ashburn, and Austin Hodel Andrew is going to finish in 20th place.
21st, Dominic Angelichio over James Colborn and Jeff Castillo. Kerry Corcoran, final car on the lead lap. Joshua Lyon, Nicholas Sykes, Brandon Louvier all 1 lap down in 25th through 27th. Philip Bedurkin and Will Coffey go 2 laps down tonight. Bedurkin 28th and Coffey 29th. Kenneth Michael will finish 30th as Sykes goes 26th, Coffey 29th in the Battle of the Fords.
In 31st place, we're going to have Billy Bowerman ahead of Scott Angelo, John Kroom, Clarence Rosa, and Ronaldo Carlos.
35 cars this evening for the amateur race, but as per usual, the entire season, Rob Rodriguez, best of them all, and Rob is able to go and claim yet another race win. And Rob, it didn't always look like you were the best car out there. In fact, for much of tonight's race, it looked like it was Marco Garcia. What happened there at the pit stops?
Yeah, I don't know. I knew that it was really tight up front, and I was struggling a little bit. I have actually, to be honest, I have a cold. I came down with a cold, so have kind of a slight headache, but no excuse. I just really was trying to keep it tight up front and not lose too much time. And when it was time for the pit stops, I just thought, okay, I got to really nail the entrance here because it's a fast entrance, so it's easy to overshoot it. And then just get out. And I had practiced the pit exit because, you know, the pit exit here is long and windy, and I had practiced really trying to get the best lines through there. And, you know, I don't know. I think by that point, I think I had a pretty good gap, so maybe it was going in. But yeah, it worked out. It worked out great.
Now let's throw the race aside. After 8 races, there we go. You are the amateur champion, and I'd imagine you have to be going up to Pro-Am to battle with your son. Well, actually, I was going to say battle with your son. Technically, you would be. He's in Pro now, but likely headed up to Pro-Am. How do you wrap up this season of emotions, season of feelings, season of thoughts as you claim this championship and are likely headed up?
Well, yeah, it's an awesome season. This is my 3rd season in the NARL. So first 2 seasons, you know, it didn't do so great, and the off season before this one, I decided to really kind of buckle down and really figure out what I needed to, you know, just get a little bit more consistent, a little faster. As I mentioned in the past, also the mental aspect I think was big for me to learn how to relax and stay calm, be patient, especially qualifying, you know, just go out there and do what I've always done before. Nerves is something that, you know, that gets to all of us, and that's something that I had struggled with. So I really worked on that a lot. But yeah, I mean, huge thanks to Scott Rister for setting up this league. It's an awesome league, one of the best leagues I've ever been in. Great to also for all the competitors out there. I mean, a huge respect for all the drivers out there. It's an honor to drive with them on track. You know, I like to win fair and square, and so it's great when you have other drivers that feel the same way. So that really was amazing. And of course, you know, huge thanks to Bryce for helping me out with a lot of coaching and being my you know, spotter during the race, and yeah, just watching out for mistakes. So awesome season. You know, like as I said before, it was my first win back in Zolder, then second, and then this is my 3rd win ever. So it's really awesome to get my wins in this league. As I said, it's been a lot of fun, and I'm excited to come back next season and you know, try to again improve and get a little better, and then see what happens. But really, just the competition on track. Driving with other guys that are passionate. For me, that's really enough. The winning and all that is a bonus, but just having fun and competing with other guys that are respectful on and off the track is, for me, the best part of it.
Now, looking forward after becoming a champion, well, next up is actually a 24-hour race. Are you guys competing, Evolution Racing, you and your son?
No, I don't think we're doing that one. I think it conflicts with some scheduling, so we can't do that one. But as I said, we're certainly eager to compete again in whatever comes up next for NARO, whether it's, I think Bryce wants to do Porsche Cup, but I might do that and definitely come back in GT3, which is, again, I love these cars.
There you go, Rob Rodriguez Jr. after winning a championship and winning another race here in the North American Racing League. What is this, 3 now you said? I think you didn't get VIR last week. Did you get Charlotte?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, there you go. So 3 race wins, all in the last 4 races of the season. As we said earlier, Rob Rodriguez catching on fire right at the right time and taking this championship. Rob, congratulations on a season well done, a night well done. We'll be talking to you again very, very soon.
Yeah, thanks guys, Andrew and JP, and I look forward to watching the replay tomorrow and listening to you guys broadcast the race. Always a treat. Thanks.
Big thanks to Rob Rodriguez for his time as he's turned the reins over now to Bryce Rodriguez for the Pro-Am race, JP. A really good showing here out of Rob tonight, and just championshiply, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he did what he had to do, and even excel. He just needed to finish the race, and I mean, he won even by a comfortable pace, I guess you could say. The gap wasn't that big, but he had it under control on the final few laps, which, I mean, he just did what he had to do and even more, which is, I mean, perfect. absolutely perfect. A champion's drive, a well-deserved championship for him.
So as we wrap up our amateur race this evening, take a look back at our schedule. For those of you that might be tuning out after this one, not watching for the pros, well, here you go. This is how we got here. Road Atlanta, Sebring, Long Beach, Red Bull, Red Bull Ring anyways, Zolder, Charlotte, Virginia, and Interlagos. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 races in the United States, 1 in Austria, 1 in Belgium, and 1 in Brazil. JP, without the bias to Interlagos, which was your favorite?
Oh, that's a good one. I loved Charlotte. I feel like that was a really fun race. VIR was absolutely fantastic. You know what, Andrew? Even though I love Road Atlanta and I'm gonna have a bit of bias towards that, I'm gonna go for VIR. That finale was just out of this world.
I'm glad we can agree on this. Very, very glad we can agree on this.
But
VIR,
but you have to choose. I mean, VIR is yours, so I mean, you have to choose another one.
Well, no, I think Charlotte would actually be. Well, you're right. Charlotte and VIR are probably tied there on that list, but I think genuinely the race, the way it worked out, you can't say no to that kind of a race, that kind of a finish, that drama in Oak Tree on the final lap, and headed down the backstretch with a one car all kinds of bent up and out of shape, and Stevenson ran away with the win. Rodriguez came through for second. His results in the back end of the season, by the way: Zolder first, Charlotte first, VIR second, Interlagos first. I mean, how do you argue with that?
No, you can't. You just cannot.
There you go. So Rob Rodriguez Jr. takes a championship this season of the North American Racing League. We will step aside and get ready for the pros then. From Interlagos, we've got more racing action on the way. Don't go anywhere. I did it again, JP. Right? You know, we have Road Atlanta coming up for BSR this week, but here we go. Interlagos, as we get ready for race number 2 of the day. Stick with us here at PitStopTV. One final chance, one final opportunity for the drivers of the North American Racing League to take top honors. And I don't mean top honors in just a race, no. I mean top honors in the season. Take the top prizes, take the top money. It's Juan Blanat, Gustavo Ariel, and Andre Melchers fighting for this championship. 3 drivers with an opportunity, 10 points, spread them apart through the top 3 spots, and we've got 50 minutes to settle it all in Brazil. Interlagos, the site of our championship this evening. Already 1 race in the books. That was our amateur finale. Now it's time for the pros and pro-ams as Gustavo Ariel walks into Brazil, certainly with, I think, a big head on his shoulders, and with good reason. JB already atop the practice charts. Welcome back in. Welcome back to Brazil. We weren't gone very long. We still had the Brazil sights and sounds in the back, well, sights anyways, in the background, and we're already back to it with a Brazilian on top. And in practice, at least all 9 pro drivers are stacked up in front of all 12 Pro-Am drivers. We're definitely going to see, I think, a very spread field like that. I think it's going to be down to just being the best driver over the course of the pit run, or the field run. And we saw last week, and I think it confirms some suspicions. These drivers do not want to be first in the first run. They want to be second. They want to be able to draft. Do you still, in Andre Melcher's case, after last week backfired so badly, do you still give that opportunity to Juan Blanat to lead this race and have no issues? I think if you're Gustavo and Andre, you've got to work together against Juan. If you're Gustavo, you're likely qualifying on pole. You likely are going to lead into turn 1 and likely out of turn 3. How do you play the race then? The extra bits that Gustavo has to work with him: Arthur Leist in car number 30, Roberto Carmo in car number 14, and Tony Kanaan in car number 48. 3 fantastic teammates to help you out here, especially at Brazil. I don't think there's any other team boss that I would ever want at Interlagos other than Tony Kanaan comes into today. He's never been one of the top drivers in these races. He's always been top 5, maybe top 10, but tonight it might change. Yeah. No, he ended up ending lap 1 upside down. Let's hope that doesn't happen to him tonight. Here's Reed Gibson back at a Scuderia Chicken House BMW. Rodrigo Lepre out there in a Duck House Racing BMW. Justin Singh in a, I believe, Scuderia Chicken House BMW. Pierre Thompson, hey, we've got a Porsche in the field. Good to see that for Pierre with the Martini colors. That's a good look for the field. Gustavo, there he is. And hey, Scott Reister out there at a Ford. Love to see that. Hey! And, yeah. Bruno Del Carmo. Yeah, it's 2 tenths, nearly 3 tenths back to Arthur Weiss, but Bryce Rodriguez goes 4th. Bruno Del Carmo's 5th currently, 0.574 back of the pole, and Tony Kanaan over a second behind Gustavo that first lap, behind Rodrigo Lepre as well in the 9th position. So TK has got some work to do in qualifying at least, and hasn't really, when he's run here in NARL, he's never really qualified well, so he's gonna have to work on that. Do not see Andre Melchers, and I wonder if he even mentioned that last week in his interview. I don't think we interviewed him last week. Did he finish second? My memory sometimes escapes me, but no Andre Melchers means it's going to be a very, I think, black and white battle. Gustavo Ariel, Juan Buena, who finishes best. I'm sure there will be some other circumstances along with it, but it's, for the most part, who finishes higher. Let's see, Gustavo's on his final flying lap. Arthur as well as Bruno, Bryce, Marcos, Scott, Fabio, Reed, Rodrigo, TK, Paulo, Justin, everybody out there on their final flying lap, aside from Juan Blanat, Nicolas Rubilar, and Mark Scott. Now, Nicolas doesn't have a time in. He was very, very off on his first lap. Didn't actually set a lap time, as now it looks like Brian Zinn will get a lap in. So it's just Nicolas Rubilar and Juan Blanat looking to put down their second lap and begin their third. Gustavo, though, working on the back end of his third. Oh. Yeah, I think so. Galbraith up to 9th. Bryce Rodriguez will come down to the line here in just 1 second. Or, well, a few seconds, I suppose. On the home stretch, anyway. Bryce in a Ferrari tonight, and he will take to the pit lane. Marcos Nunez working on another lap here. He's on lap number 3. Juan Blanat has now begun his final lap. You know what? If I'm Juan here, throw the lap away. Arthur has no chance. Bruno has no lap. Has no chance. TK is not on the racetrack. Ooh, that might be. Yeah, you might be right. I think you do try and go for the pole then. And at that point, if you end up second or third, the points don't really matter. You're still getting enough points to offset the gap that you have. So I think you're a little more on point there. I really do. I like your take at it. I think you're a little more correct. And We'll see what Juan can do on this final lap of qualifying. A 1:31.313 so far. We haven't really looked at our lap records for this place, but let's go ahead and do so now while Juan finishes up his qualifying run. Bring up the track map here. We don't have a GT3 fastest lap, but GT Le Mans, let's see, GT LM or GTE is a 1:30.101. GT1, when they still ran here, the lap record was set in 2010. That was a 1:34.168, and Juan to the line does not go faster. Down to 4. Yeah, Nicholas got through there right at the end of qualifying. So proper effort there from car 7. Had one last chance to position his car nicely, and he did exactly that. Arthur Leist will start from 4th. Bruno DeCarmo 5th. We'll go through your full starting order here in just a few moments. While we have these few moments at the back end of qualifying, let's talk about some upcoming broadcasts here at PitStopTV. There are a lot of them, and next up, you see that Sunday. It's a throwback day. MPI Cup Series is at Darlington Raceway, the track that's too tough to tame, the Lady in Black. The MPI Cup Series will have plenty of throwbacks on display, and if you haven't seen them just yet, well, I certainly recommend that you go over to our social channels, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We've been posting a bunch of them. In fact, right before this broadcast, we posted both Judd Danielson's throwback and Casey Knighton's throwback. One is to Dick Trickle, one is to Davey Allison. Both are really cool to look at. You should definitely go take a look at our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter right now for not only Emerson Arden's social media updates, but also those paint schemes, those throwbacks to the MPI Cup Series heading to Darlington this week. Tuesday afternoon, we get the Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta with British Sim Racers in their MX5 Trophy Tuesday campaign. Before Wednesday, we get the Outlaw Sim Series headed to Watkins Glen International. A lot of broadcasts coming up. Certainly recommend that you follow along with us here at PitStopTV to check them out, to catch them as we get ready for race number 8 of the season here at JP. It's been a wild season, and we're finally ready to go ahead and close it out. On your front row, Gustavo Ariel comes in 5 points back of where he needs to be for a championship. Juan Blanat 5 points ahead of where he needs to be. That's changed now. A 1-point swing in qualifying. Gustavo, a little bit easier of an effort here in race number 8 now to try and claim top honors. Nicholas Rublar will start from the 3rd place. Arthur Leist in 4th. Bruno DeCarmo will start from 5th place. Fabio Zamperlini 6th. That's stacking a lot of Brazilians at the top of the field. Starting 7th is Bryce Rodriguez. And a Ferrari Marcos Nunez starts from 8th place. And to finish out your top 10, it's Pro-Am pole sitter Rodrigo Lepre and Scott Kimbrough. 22 cars ready to go racing here at Interlagos. Let's check out the weather one more time. As you can see, it's gotten cloudier, JP. It's definitely gotten to the point where I think temperatures are going to be a little more safe for these guys. 80 degrees in the air, 90 degrees on the track. That's cooler. It's cooler on the track because of the cloud cover, but it's warmer when there is sun. So if the clouds move on out, you have to wonder if this place is going to heat up. It might get a little hot.
Yeah, and if that does, Andrew, that's gonna really throw a spanner in the mix. I would really like that to see, the track temperature really soaring up high. The winds are picking up and slowing themselves down, but I don't think that's gonna be a major player on tonight's race. But yeah, if the track temp really soars up, it would definitely be interesting.
Our leaders on the grid working through turn number 11. Let's get ready to get this race underway. 50 minutes of pro-am action on the way here. One pit stop guaranteed for each of these drivers. Shouldn't see any tires taken, but if the track continues to heat up, maybe, just maybe, we'll see a few added on to these cars, a few swapped out, as the Porsche pace car leads us through the final couple of corners and up past Subidos boxes. JP, call us to the green.
So now, pace car lights are out. This is it, Andrew. The final race of the season for these guys. Our championship leaders lines up a second place. Contender lines up in first on the inside as we now wait for the championship. There we go. The teammates line themselves up, and that's going to allow Andrew already for some early strategy. Gustavo Ariel is going to lead us to the green flag as we head into turn number 1. A perfect start for full-time esports. And, well, they're going to have a good start. They have 3 cars in the first 3 positions.
Out of Curva do Sol, already full-time esports controlling the top of the field. A fantastic start by them, perfect choreography, and Nicolas Rubilar will take over 4th. That puts Juan Blanat down into a battle for 5th with Bryce Rodriguez.
This could be championship deciding. He needs to be careful, but he needs to protect that 5th place right there. Jesus, my English is going out of it. And as you can see, a few drivers, looks like we're single filing through the rest of the field. There we go. Juan Blanat still in 5th place. Andrew, but definitely not what he wanted to see. 3 full-time esports drivers ahead of him. And, well, Nicolas Rubilar as well. And not a great start for Juan. What do you do right now? Do you attack early on in the race? Do you start fuel saving as early as possible? Quite a few questions on his mind.
To the back end of the first lap, we'll get some questions answered in the next 20, 30, 40 minutes. As the field quietly but quickly works on through lap number 1. Good to see that there were no incidents here at the start. Of course, that massive melee on lap number 1 in the amateur race. As soon as I say that, we've got problems further back. Looks like Mark Scott toes back to the pit lane, and Arthur Lice is going to lead lap 1 over his teammate Gustavo Ariel. I don't know if he knows this is not what you want to do.
This is exactly what you want to do, Andrew. We don't want to lead. It looks like Lice actually overcooked the, well, turn number 1, and that allowed everyone to check up. And look at that, Rubilar actually got the position over, looks like Bruno do Carmo had to check up a little bit. And, well, further battles behind, you can see there Juan Blanat going side by side with Bryce Rodriguez, looks like, and that could come in contact. These two actually going at it. That's really allowing Gustavo to really check out of this pretty much on another zip code. Looks like the number 14 tries to close the door on Juan Blanat, but he wasn't able to do it, and he's probably going to have to yield that position. Bruno do Carmo, he's going to have to fight it around the outside. Can he do it? It's going to be tricky. It's going to be dangerous, but he does keep his car on the outside. Now lining up to turn number 9, he's going to have the inside line trying to squeeze Blanat out, and he does so, retains that position. So after quite a massive change for positions, well, they kind of get it under control.
Nicolas Rubilar still breaking those teammates up. That's what you don't want to have. And with Gustavo Ariel out there clear by 1.2 seconds, these full-time esports guys, they've got to back the field up quite a bit if they really want to keep him there, because he's going to have to take more fuel if he doesn't have any help in this draft. So the choreography on the start was great, but the choreography laps 1 and 2, not so much.
No, absolutely not. I mean, Lice, I think it was Lice. It was either Lice or Bruno do Carmo. Absolutely botched turn number 1, and that really costed him. Obviously, Gustavo is in a good position to save if his teammates can hold these guys back, Andrew. If Lice now can really hold Rubilar, back, Gustavo is going to have a good gap, and after 1 point, after, maybe around 2 or 3 seconds, he can start saving just as much as these guys, but it's going to be a big challenge. And Blanat, he's still in 5th place. He had a shot at 4th, but unfortunately couldn't get past the number 14.
On board here with Juan. He's just got to go past these guys. He's got to pass Bruno do Carmo and Arthur Lice if he wants to win this championship. I think that's just plain as day.
He has to save as much fuel as he can, Andrew. I mean, at this point, he needs to turn that thirsty BMW into a very, very efficient 1-liter engine, pretty much. He just needs... I think he just needs to think about strategy at this point. Blanat does. And Lice, he just needs to back these guys off. He just needs to essentially allow his teammate to create the biggest gap possible at this stage, and he needs to save fuel himself as well, Andrew, because otherwise he's going to be out of contention, and he's going to be losing quite a few positions on the pit cycle.
Look at this guy, Fabio Zamperlini, bit of a resurgence out of Fabio. I mean, no surprise that he would be a bit stronger here at Interlagos, but this is a very welcome sight to see car 37 doing a little better than he has all season long. Quite nice to see Fabio succeeding today. Arthur Lice, problems. He's on the pit lane.
Ooh, maybe a penalty. Maybe jumping the start. Could be. Could it be?
I doubt it, but I don't know what else this would be for.
No. Well, he's coming down to the pit box. Huh.
Could be a stop and hold.
Oh, yeah, true.
Very odd. Very odd. And this is really changing the entire course of the race. I mean, there's no way. Could he be taking fuel right now?
I mean, if he's taking a stop and go, he might as well take fuel. But
well, not even for that. Well, yeah, now he's going a little bit long. I was thinking maybe because I mean we've seen these guys go to 10 minutes to go in the race. Could they maybe try to go to 5?
Well,
Very
if he
odd.
did that, yeah, he's going to be essentially driving. I mean, he's going to have to fuel save a lot of fuel right now. But I mean, I don't think that was an injury. And
I
if
wonder
that
if
was
he
some
left
sort of
qualifying
penalty,
fuel in the car.
could it be as well? Only a few laps. Maybe
I'm not
that.
sure what else it could have been.
It's tricky. And either way, Andrew, this just completely throws the full-time esports strategy on its head. Now, Blaney is still in 4th place, yes, but I mean, one last car for him to essentially worry about.
Much to the chagrin of Juan Blanat, because now Nicolas Rubelar can try and run down Gustavo Ariel. I think he might have a chance to do it. Gustavo's got to save fuel now, and Nicolas has had a little while to save behind Arthur. So, honestly, that just threw everything for full-time esports out the window. It's not completely game over for their choreography and their plans, but it's going to make it a lot more difficult as Gustavo is going to have to start thinking about saving fuel or over-fueling. One of the two.
Yeah, I mean, just really now, I don't know what the strategy is going to be for Gustavo.
In fairness, this is what Juan did last week, and he won. It worked.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one right there. So, obviously, Gustavo is on his home turf, Andrew. I'm pretty sure he has more laps around here than pretty much any other driver, but it's still weird to see, this strategy being thrown around. And, yeah, and in 2nd place is Nicolas Rubelar. Is not even his teammate, and he's pulling a gap, so the pace is definitely there. The question is he saving enough fuel? Is he treating the tires quite well? I'm pretty sure the answer to both those questions is yes, but we can still speculate.
Bruno De Carmo in the 3rd position. Definitely team orders were apparent from the beginning of this race, and it's going to play a big factor in today. If you are Bruno, how hard do you fight Juan Blanat? I think positioning is one thing. Fighting is another.
Andrew, we're gonna, if they do come to battle side by side, we're gonna elect yet another Minister of Defense. I can guarantee you that. This is gonna be just like Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton at Abu Dhabi. Bruno is definitely not gonna make Juan Blanat's life easy whatsoever. And well, yeah, we're gonna come to that when we come to that.
Zach Rosar just won the comment of the night, and if my girlfriend chimes into the chat, she's gonna like it too. We don't talk about Bruno. I don't know. I don't know if you've got the reference. I don't know if Disney movies make it down to you, but that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a top notch right there. That's excellent.
Yes, quality. Comment of the season, maybe. Anyways, Scott Kimbrough leading in Pro-Am over Rodrigo Lapri. This is for 8th and 9th on the racetrack. Mike Galbraith is 10th. Reed Gibson and Paulo Goday are 11th and 12th fighting, with Tony Kanaan just behind. If you're either one of these two and you've got TK breathing down your neck at Brazil, you might want to think about getting out of the way potentially.
Yeah, could definitely be. That would be interesting. As Tony Kanaan, Andrew, just like we mentioned on the pre-race broadcast, unfortunately the races this season haven't really gone his way, have they? I guess...
No, not at all. His NARL career has been abysmal, aside from that one streamer championship back in January, and even then he dropped out by connection. His career has been abysmal. His runs, his speed has been fantastic, but his career, his results have been terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just so unfortunate because we know how much of a quality driver he is. I mean,
yeah,
his
we
resume.
don't have to speak to his accolades.
Yeah, I mean, it's Tony Kanaan, but it's just unfortunate not going his way, and it's just a bit more of the same. He's just outside of the top 10. He's one of the few pro drivers who's outside of the top 10, actually. Just only him and his teammate, Arthur Lice. I guess it's safe to say we all expected a bit more of TK throughout the season.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see him a little more. Hopefully we see more of him in a couple of weekends, actually. Not this weekend, but next, as we go to Watkins Glen, where it's going to be a 24-hour race around the Glen. I'm so excited for that. 24 hours at the Glen is something you don't hear a whole lot, if ever. But North American Racing League has put together cash days once more. We did it last September at Long Beach. It was 4 hours then. We've hit the multiplier by 6. Scott Reiser said, full send, let's go. 24 hours at Watkins Glen next weekend. Preparation for these teams, it's already top-notch. It's already full go for these guys, and we're going to have to catch up quite a bit. We've had so much racing lately. It's going to be a lot of fun, though. We've got 12 hours of commentated, if you will, manned coverage, and then 4 hours planned of non-commentary coverage that we're going to bill as listening to the sounds of the sim. So 16 total hours of coverage out of 24. A lot of racing action to watch here on PitStopTV. We'll have 8 hours of break time for us to regroup and, frankly, sleep through that 24-hour race. And the drivers, they might not be doing a whole lot of sleeping. But JP, it's a little more difficult for us to wake up right before a broadcast, right before a 24-hour race, and get it going, quite like the drivers can. So we need that little bit of a break, and it's still gonna be a lot of fun. 16 hours of coverage, Watkins Glen, day and night, GT3 cars, a stacked field, a lot to talk about.
Oh, absolutely. Not only the drivers are preparing themselves, Andrew, my fridge is getting quite full of Red Bulls for my,
just picking up one extra each day?
Yeah, pretty much, just stacking up slowly but surely to keep myself, but it's going to be a whole lot of fun. We might not even need it on the early parts of the race, but, I mean, I remember the cash days at Long Beach. That was a whole lot of fun, and now multiplying it by quite a few, and obviously, more cars. I mean, Watkins Glen, we just saw how fantastic it was on BSR early today. It's just going to be a whole lot of fun. Just like this race is, a whole lot of close racing, Andrew, and I wonder who we are following. I'm trying to piece together, and I wonder if this just ahead. Oh, yeah, Reed Gibson. Is this Paulo Godoy just ahead?
Yes, sir, it is. We're being fed some information, though, and this is breaking. Gustavo Ariel may have a problem. I'm going to look into this a little bit. Rodrigo Pereira out in the chat mentioning that Gustavo has a problem with his TVs. Rodrigo, if you have got a link, does he have a stream going that we can check it out? Any way that we can find out about this would be nice, because obviously we're not going to know this just from watching the session as a spectator like this. So anyway, yeah, if you've got a link for us to check it out, we can actually bring it up on the broadcast and try and show this issue. Yeah, definitely. If you've got a link, this would be huge.
And that issue still continues. It could really cost him. Obviously, I mean, if it turns off, Andrew, in the middle of the corner, if it's only one the corner TVs, you can kind of get away with it, run with a single monitor. But if it's your main one, then you're going to be in big issue.
So it's sounding a little more like maybe he's used to VR, and the VR has quit, and he's racing on just the TV. Rodrigo, please do your best to try and feed us this info. This is huge, if this is correct. Is that a little more correct, that maybe he's usually a virtual reality racer, and maybe that's not working? If so, that is a big adjustment to make. We had Fiona Siddons and BSR have that issue recently, didn't we? And that's definitely a big change for a driver.
Yeah, definitely. And adjusting not only, obviously, throughout a day, but mid-race as well, or just before a race could really be tricky. And we're just going to have to wait and see, Andrew. I just hopped on his stream live on Twitch. And
oh, my God. You're kidding me. Hang
But
on, let me try and bring this up. Let me try and bring this up on the stream. Give me just one moment. It's gonna take a second. This is live TV happening. My goodness. See if I can get this. Just 1 second here. This is huge. Okay, I think we've got it ready. Will be in a moment. All right. Coming now. That black screen, JP. You want to explain what we're looking at there?
So, I mean, I'm gonna take a wild guess. You're better than me at this, Andrew, but I think that's just, you know, the information stopped feeding through the screen. If it was a headset, I'm pretty sure it's just disconnected. But what I want to bring your attention, Andrew, he's running triple screens, right? The corner screen we can see, it's absolutely frozen.
Yeah, so what it looks like is... Yeah, what it looks like is it's gone out of native triples, and it's now just a center monitor, yeah. The other two are frozen, so I'm not sure if the outside monitors have frozen in the sim, or if they've frozen, maybe it's, you know, reverted back to single monitor program and it's no longer sending iRacing and that's its background. I'm not totally certain there, but this is definitely big for a driver that usually is able to look at his other monitors and physically look to the apex. As a racing driver, your eyes dictate where you go. If you look to the apex, your car is going to go to the apex. If you're off in La La Land looking at the stands, well, guess what? Your car is not going to the apex. It just might go to the stands by vaulting up over the wall. So for Gustavo to not be able to look just that little bit extra left or right and be able to see the apex that he's turning in at, that's a big problem. Is contact in Interlagos. These two going after it. Bruno De Carmo and Nicholas Rubelar right in front of Juan Blanat.
Oh, they are going at it, and you can see Juan may get the position over Bruno. They're going to go side by side once again, almost making contact. They do make contact. You can see a little bit of correction from the number 14, who almost gets into the back end of Nicholas Rubelar. Once again, they're going side by side through turns 9, and I'm pretty sure the number 14 is going to try to wash out a bit wide, and he does so. He clears Juan Blanat, and that's going to be, well, that's exactly what he needs to do, Andrew. But just as you mentioned, if you're just adapting from one screen to, well, from triple screen to one screen, that's going to be a huge. And I haven't raced quite a lot in iRacing. I've never raced on triple screens, but if both of your monitors disconnect, does the FOV get adjusted for one screen, or does it stay connected to the three?
It should keep the FOV. It shouldn't change that, because it's no longer registering the outside two monitors. So it should just register the one. But that is a bizarre issue, and he's no longer getting center monitor streamed to the feed. I mean, it's not affecting him much. He goes purple that lap. But it changes the way the source is in iRacing, or, well, in OBS, it's likely now gone from a game capture to maybe a windowed view. So there's a lot that's gone on, and a lot that's changed with his program there for iRacing. And, well, clearly things are not working. So the stream just sees black. He's still seeing the track, thankfully. At first, I thought maybe the center monitor had gone dark and he was going off of just the outside monitors, in which case I would have been beyond impressed. I'm still impressed to a point that he's now without two monitors on the outside, but I'm going to be honest with you, I'm still a single monitor racer myself. I've got 4 monitors, but they're all different sides. It's definitely a miscellaneous broadcast setup, if you will. So, yeah, I feel some sympathy because it's not normal, but hey, single monitor, he'll be fine.
Oh, absolutely. We hope so. Because currently the pace looks like he'll be fine. He'll be perfectly fine. I mean, he has increased the pace quite a bit, and it looks quite comfortable doing so. So, I mean, excellent job for him. As we cut back to TK, he's currently fighting with Mike Galbraith and Justin Tseng behind him. This is a battle for 12th place, and I don't think he's fuel saving quite a bit. He's in a position where he could attack down into turn number 1 if he wanted to.
Yeah, TK gonna have an opportunity here after the Maradness BMW ahead. I think he's just biding his time. He's probably saving fuel just the same. We could see him go for a top 10, I think, by the end of this race. Maybe. As Rodrigo Laprise still works on Scott Kimbrough. This is for 8th on the racetrack. And guess what?
This is the battle for the Pro-Am lead.
Yes, it is. I do want to turn our attention, though, to Bruno de Carmo. He's getting close again into turn 4 to Cedro del Lago, and there's some right side damage on that 14. So a lot of developments throughout the race as we hit 20 minutes elapsed here in about 50 more seconds.
And you know what I think he might be doing, might he want to do? Maybe due to the issue, he might just want to get past Rubilar to maybe try to slow the pace just a little bit down to allow even a bigger breathing room to Gustavo. Could be the strategy. Not quite sure if it actually is, or he just wants to get past Nicolas Rubilar, but I mean, if it is, it's definitely interesting.
Consider the gap, though, from Gustavo back to Nicolas. This has definitely been everything Gustavo needs from that point of view. The choreography might not be right now with the full-time esports drivers, but the gap is, and the performance from Gustavo is, he's got nearly 4 seconds back to car number 7, and it's much further back to Juan Blanat. So at the very least, Gustavo is doing everything he can to ensure himself a win, even if he has to take extra fuel on his pit stop. And Juan is, I mean, he's not out of luck. He can still win this championship from where he is, but it's going to be a little more difficult as he is. He has the clutch in there, dives deeper into turn 1, and yes, Nicolas Rubilar has pitted.
Yeah, Nicolas Rubilar gets out of this action, so it's just a battle between these two right now. And that means that Bruno de Carmo is going to have to punch a hole in the air. And you can see him going extremely defensive. Juan Blanat is going to have to go the long way around the outside down into turn number 4 in the braking zone. Who goes deeper? It looks like the number 14 does so. And can the number 89 have anything to answer on the exit? Yes, he does. A little bit of a better exit. Bruno de Carmo holds it around the outside. This is the complete opposite of what I have seen, Andrew, on the previous laps. Juan Blanat, is he going to be trying to hold it around the outside? Yes, he does. Bruno tries to squeeze him out, and he does so. Juan cannot really force the move on the outside, and he's going to be stuck behind Bruno for at least a few more sectors. But this is a fantastic battle for position. Bruno doing everything he can to hold position. Juan doing everything he can to get past, and yeah, as you mentioned, the gap, Andrew, 5 seconds already.
This is huge. This is just about ensuring, and I think this is why Nicolas went ahead and pitted early. This is just about ensuring a victory for Gustavo. It's not over, and Nicolas pitting early, that is a big strategy move. I think Juan might want to consider pitting as soon as he can. Get out of the way, I guess out of the wake here of Bruno de Carmo. Bruno's only going to hold him up. He needs to get out from behind this 14 car ASAP.
Yeah, and he's going to be trying to do it just right now. You can see once again on the outside, he needs to be brave. He needs to force Bruno down to the apex. He needs to hold it around turn number 2. He does so. Bruno needs to give him the gap. He does so. And they're going to go side by side, almost touching mirrors once again. But once again, the full-time esports driver can hold it around the outside. You can see Juan Blanat desperate, Andrew, to find a way past. And look, it's just bringing Fabio Zamperlini, it's bringing Nunez, it's bringing Rodriguez as well. You can see once again Juan Blanat tries to go around the outside, tries to get a better exit, but looks like this time Bruno de Carmo has it covered. The gap only increases, Andrew. The gap between Blanat and Zamperlini is coming down slowly but surely. This is going to get interesting.
This is big. And honestly, Juan just needs to pit. Get away from Bruno. Get out there, do your own thing. The longer he stays in this battle, JP, the more time he loses. In the last lap alone, it's been 2 seconds. He's down to 7 seconds back now. This is absolutely tragic for Juan Blanat. He has got to get away from Bruno de Carmo.
This is crazy, Andrew. This is just the opposite from what we saw in F1. Remember, Sergio was bringing the gap down to Max. This time, Bruno is bringing the gap up to Gustavo. He's just allowing Gustavo to increase, and look at that. Everybody, essentially going to have everybody up to Bryce Rodriguez on this battle. He needs to get out of this battle, but if he comes into traffic, he's going to be really on the back foot. He cannot afford to come back into traffic and having to overtake everybody. He just has to get past Bruno or just save more fuel. I mean, at this stage, I think the win is going to be out of reach.
There's so many fewer cars in this race. Look at Nicolas. He's got no traffic all around. Yes, it might suck that you don't have draft, but at this point, a single car pace is going to be faster than these guys running 133s behind Bruno. Gustavo's able to run 131s right now. You cannot stay behind Bruno de Carmo another lap. You've got to get out of this. At this point, you're opening the door to Fabio Zamperlini. You're opening the door to Marcos Nunez. If you're Juan Blanat, you've got to pit.
Yeah, you
can't move Bruno de Carmo.
No, absolutely
clearly
not. He cannot
battling him
afford.
is not going to work. He's too good at defending right now. And even if you do pass him, he's got the next straightaway and he can pass you back. So you've just got to pit. If anything, you end up a little ways behind Nicolas, and you're able to maybe draft up to him, and maybe it works out. But you've just got to pit at this point.
And I think, don't forget, Andrew, Bruno has absolutely nothing to lose in this battle. Nothing.
Yeah.
And Juan has absolutely everything to lose. He has a whole championship on the line.
Oh, there it is.
And that was a mistake.
Misstep.
Yeah, that was a small mistake from Bruno, and that's going to bring the gap once again a bit down. And what does Juan do at this time around? You can see 4 BMWs in a perfect straight line. Does anyone dive into the pit? Fabio does. That could prove dividend for him. He saw the two battling hard, Andrew, and this could really, really help Fabio to get a few positions. This could really backfire on Juan Blanat.
Yeah, this is big for Fabio. He's going to be able to get out of that traffic. At this point, they're running slower than a single car. Even with that mistake, I think he's going to be better off for it. Fabio Zamperlini to the pit lane.
But, you know, the problem is, Andrew, that now we're going to have an idea or where he might come back. And actually, I'm looking. The gap to Nicolas Rubilar and Brian Zinn is 20 seconds. Nicolas is definitely going to have the position over Juan and Bruno.
Yeah.
And look at all the clear air. Juan needed to pit, actually.
Yep. I mean, ahead of Nicolas, look at this. There's no traffic for another 4 seconds up to Lucas Souza. And behind him, there's no traffic. At this point, Juan needs to come in.
At this point, he already
throw
lost
the strategy
position.
out the window. You're saving time if you just pit. It's now 9 seconds to Gustavo. This is ridiculous. This is crazy.
Yeah, he's not catching Gustavo anymore. I don't think 9 seconds is way too much of a gap to close up on pace.
Yeah.
And at this point, Andrew, they have been running such slower laps that not only Gustavo is catching up, but the strategy of Nicolas Rubilar is actually working to perfection. He's going to close the gap quite a bit. Maybe not to Gustavo, but he's definitely going to open up and have a safe second part of the race after all these guys pit, after all the pit cycles. So he's going to be in a perfect situation. And Juan, well, unfortunately for him, not working out. There we go. Finally comes down to the pit lane. I'm not sure if he was listening to us or his spotter just told him where Zamperlini came out, but finally comes down to the pit lane, Andrew. And he's not going to be saving a lot of fuel. He was pushing to try and get past Bruno. He may be going wrong.
Finally, Juan Blanat into the pits. Let's see how much fuel he takes. For reference, Nicolas Rubilar took 15.1 seconds of fuel. Fabio Zamperlini, 15.0. We'll see where he comes out. Brian Zinn earlier took a 14.5, pitted on the same lap. 14.0 there for Juan. He did have plenty of time to save fuel. I'll give him that. See where he exits. He's ahead of Fabio. Nicolas is up the road. Well ahead of Fabio Zamperlini. Good pit stop from Juan Blanat. That's what he needed. Now, does Bruno De Carmo turn up the wick? Does he start running qualifying pace and try and stay ahead?
I think he just pits to cover Andrew. Even if he underfuels the car, if he just comes down to the pit and covers that strategy from Juan Blanat, he's going to be golden. And obviously, that's really going to annoy Juan, but it's, I think, what needs to be done.
Honestly, he could underfuel the car and come back in later. If he gets his job done, he backs him up further.
But yeah,
he can throw his own result away as long as he backs Juan up further. He's doing his job. He can pit at the end of the race. It doesn't matter to him.
No, he needs to finish ahead of Juan. That's the main focus.
Well, yeah, you're right. You're right. I suppose.
He can continue as long as he underfuels the car and comes back ahead of Juan. And now the job of the spotters, if the full-time esports team, obviously, if they do have spotters, they're following the race. They're going to be analyzing the lap times of Bruno. They're going to be analyzing the lap times of Juan, and they're going to be comparing to see, okay, Juan is catching up, so you're going to have to underfuel a little bit to make sure you come out ahead. You're going to need a perfect pit stop. Or in the other case scenario, Juan is losing a bit of time. You can either push a little bit and be safe on the pit lane, or you can ease up a little bit and save more fuel. So now the spotter's job, Andrew, is to analyze all that data so quickly and make up a decision. But for this guy, I mean, if you're his spotter, I mean, you just tell him, hey, your marks, you're golden.
Gustavo Ariel clear of his teammate Bruno De Carmo by nearly 9 seconds. Marcos Nunez is in the third position. This a live look at your second, third, and fourth place cars. Bryce Rodriguez, they're in fourth. Scott Kimbrough, and all of this mayhem up front, all this madness is cycled through into fifth spot. At least for the time being, Rodrigo Lapri just behind. And your Pro-Am points leader, Paulo Godai continues to run ahead of Reed Gibson and Tony Kanaan, now in the 7th position with pit stops midway through here. We shouldn't see the rest of our pit stops until around 10 minutes to go. While these guys do just run laps right now, a big shout out to our partners here with the North American Racing League, of course, Racelab.app, Moradness, Tam Livery, JS Consulting, all doing so much for this series. Racelab.app, a fantastic third-party program. If you're looking to add to your iRacing experience, no matter what level of experience you're at on iRacing, Racelab, Moradness, Tam Livery, JS Consulting, they've all got options, they've all got results for you. Be it Racelab's third-party software, Moradness, professional racing driver coaching, Tam Livery's paint schemes, or JS Consulting's website solutions, and more. There are plenty of options to help you out with your iRacing career with each of our partners with the North American Racing League, Racelab, Moradness, Tam Livery, and JS Consulting. Back to our action. Bryce Rodriguez still all over Marcos Nunez. This is for third on the racetrack. And we've got some pit stops. Justin Sang in the pit lane. He will exit. And Blake Scott with him.
Yeah, a few of these guys coming down to the pit lane, Andrew. Just under 20 minutes to go. This is what we kind of expect, right? This is where, I guess, the fuel window in normal races would really open. Not on races like this, but yeah, a couple of these guys coming back to the pit lane. Obviously, they're going to start, the positions are going to start shaking up, and drivers are going to be in their effective finishing positions, as we have this little battle right here between Rodrigo Lappi and Scott Kimbrough. They're going for it again, and if Rodrigo was saving quite a bit of fuel, Andrew, he's in a really good spot to jump Scott on the pit lane.
They work out of turn number 12, headed up the hill. And Bruno De Carmo is closing in aggressively because Gustavo Ariel is taken to the pit lane.
There you go. So the race leader comes down in the pit lane. Actually, the first driver, which actually makes quite a bit of sense.
Ooh.
And a small mistake right there. That shouldn't really change quite a bit. And we're going to see how much fuel he takes. We can compare that to Juan Blanad to see, what strategy Gustavo was using. Bruno De Carmo and Bryce Rodriguez, Marcos Nunez, Rodrigo Lappi, Scott Kimbrough, all of them looks like come to the pit lane. Just Reed Gibson doesn't.
Marcos Nunez in. 12.95 seconds there in the fuel. Being very aggressive. So where do they cycle out in comparison to Juan Blanat? There's Juan. Oh, man. It still didn't work out. As I think he needed a pit before Nicolas, and even then, I don't know. This is just... I can only imagine the frustration right now for Juan. This has got to be frustrating.
Oh, absolutely. It definitely is frustrating, Andrew. Just trying something different and obviously not working out. And, it works perfectly for Bruno. Now, Juan, obviously, he has a bit of an advantage. He can be a bit more aggressive around here, but he needs to be very careful to not incur a penalty, to not get incident points, and obviously not take himself out of contention.
So what can Juan Blanat do? He's going to cycle into 4th, as we pretty much expected. I mean, the only thing he can do is beat Bruno to the line. I think that's it. If he beats Bruno to the line, he might be able to sneak away with the championship. Otherwise, it might be a tie or even leaning the way of Gustavo Ariel with the dominance. I forget what bonuses are available. Scott Reister, I'm sure you're watching right now. You can help me out with that. But I don't know. Reed Gibson in the pit lane. Good to see his BMW make it back without issue. He does slide through his box a little bit.
Yeah, finally comes down to the pit lane, Andrew. And he actually is the driver that may have denied Gustavo of a full Grand Chelem, I think it's called. Gustavo was leading each and every single lap, and I'm pretty sure it still had the fastest lap of the race and got pole position. So, yeah, Reed just saved a bit of extra fuel, comes out of the pit lane. Looks like he's just going to exit out of 11th spot, actually, just ahead of TK. So, yeah, good job for him. 4th place on his class. Meanwhile, the gap still all the same. And actually came down quite a bit. 5 seconds to Nicolas Rublar.
So Nicholas is a whole lot closer. Bruno De Carmo is only 2 seconds back. Oh, and Juan Blanat goes on through to 3rd. Whoa! Bruno De Carmo suddenly went wide, and that is everything Juan needed. Everything and more. Let's take a replay. It gets started into Cito del Lago. It really gets set up out of Curva do Sol. Let's try and rewind all the way back to the Senna S, and you'll really see what happens here. Juan Blanat backs it up at Apex. Great job there to just start setting up Bruno de Carmo for a pass.
Yeah, excellent job, and you can see it's really going to pay off around here. Bruno's going to go defensive once again, and Juan is going to have to go around the outside as well. He's kind of used to at this point with the number 14. He's going to break a little bit earlier. No, actually, he's going to go side-by-side through turn number 4. He's going to extend the track a little bit, but then he's just going to rejoin side-by-side, and he's going to have the inside line. And, oh! A bit of touchy, a bit of argy-bargy around there, and then he just completely drives alongside. Just carries a bit more speed. A lot more speed. Oh, and I wonder if something went wrong on Bruno's car because he slowed down quite a bit.
Something is missed for Bruno de Carmo, and I'm not sure what. He's dropped down to 7th position now.
Could it be quite a bit of damage, Andrew? We saw on BSR just a small touch completely collapsing the suspension. I wonder if this small touch, I mean, somehow broke his car. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but could have happened.
Let's go back and see the contact one more time. I don't think it would have, but let's get a look at it here for Bruno de Carmo and Juan Blanat. On board with Juan. Bruno just came over. I mean, he just tried to clear himself and certainly was not clear. And then just inexplicably lets him go. Lets Marcos go as well. I mean, at the very least, you want to fight Juan if you're trying to help your teammate.
Yeah, I just hopped on to Bruno's live stream, Andrew, and I mean, the car seems to be intact. The thing is, right now, it's obviously he lost the position. Blanat is up to 3rd. And Andrew, another point that you get as a championship point right here is if you keep your score at 0 instant points. So yeah, if you get 0 instant points throughout the race, you get 1 extra championship win, 1 or 2, but I think it's only 1. So from the chat right now, obviously the strategy is for Gustavo to remain himself leading the race and keeping, you know, himself at 0 instant points. Obviously, that's not accounting if Blanat catches up and passes Rubilar. That's going to be a whole nother story, but that's the story right now.
Well, I'll let that one speak for itself. If that was a 4X, I'll let that one speak for itself. As far as Scott Reister, he is very much not racing currently. He is in the pit lane and has been there for 21 laps now. Bruno got a black flag after that 4X. He's not served it yet. Actually, yes, he has. You're right, he has. Okay, that would do it. He's really got that many off tracks?
Now, maybe he was defending quite hard, wasn't he?
Yeah, but not much contact. That's a lot of off tracks to get to force a black flag.
And I mean, if you count, Andrew, remember they touched a little bit a few laps before, so that could have been a 4X. If this was another 4X, that's already 8 instant points. If he came into contact with each and every, any other driver, it could also be, you know, just straight up instant points. So it just, it's all just adding up, and unfortunately, it all came to, well, a penalty.
Let's get back down to the Pro-Am battle. Scott Kimbrough leading the way and has been all race. Paulo Gaday is now up into 2nd over Rodrigo Lapri through the pit lane, I believe. And these two are very close. Well, Paulo putting together a fantastic race. Maybe not race winning, but certainly going to claim the championship, no doubt. I don't think that doubt was ever in our minds tonight. In fact, it would not have been possible for him to lose the championship. So at the drop of the green flag, technically, he clinched the championship. We can go ahead and ring the bell now for Paulo Gaday. Car 193, he's got it.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, absolutely, Andrew. He has just been on point so far. He's just running his own race. He was fastest in practice, if I'm not mistaken, but unfortunately couldn't translate that pace into qualifying in the race. But he's doing a solid race. He's just around there. He's less than 3 seconds away from Scott Kimbrough. And I think we need to mention Scott as well. Would you bet against any other Brazilians to win tonight's race, especially one that's going to be crowned the champion of the Pro-Am class?
I'm very impressed with Scott Kimbrough. Very impressed.
excellent race from him. I mean, absolutely on point to just, I mean, dominate the race so far. I don't think we've seen any other driver leading the Pro-Am class so far this race. But yeah, he's just doing what he needs to do, just carrying out the speed, you know, just carrying out the position. Now he's getting quite a bit of help from Bruno just ahead. So yeah, I mean, doing what he needs to do. And if you bet on him, I think you're going to be cashing out big in around 10 minutes time.
Here's a battle. Blake Scott, Lucas Souza. This is for 16th. Both Pro-Ams. And they were just a whole lot closer, but now Lucas Souza's starting to fall off just a little bit. Brian Zinn and Pierre Thompson are close. A BMW and a Porsche. And these are the last two cars running, actually. They are 18th and 19th. Arthur Leiss, Scott Reister, Mark Scott have parked it.
And you know the funny thing? The BMW is actually running the Porsche Le Mans paint scheme in 2018. So yeah, there you go. You got quite a bit of comparison between the two cars. But yeah, two completely different cars, Andrew. You can even see from the height of that BMW. But nice to see them both running really close, even though they're the last two cars running, as you mentioned.
Working through the middle sections of the course here, Tony Kanaan still trailing Reed Gibson. I had theorized earlier that maybe TK could get up into a top 10. Now it's not looking quite that way. He is solidly 12th, and he's got work to do if he wants to get up into the top 10. Trailing Reed Gibson by a little under a second, and Reed Gibson by a little over a second. And Gustavo goes purple again.
I mean, he doesn't really care about, looks like just going it safe on the final few laps, does he? I mean, if I was going for the fastest lap of the race, I mean, if I was leading the race and I knew I had to come with 0 incident points, Andrew, the last thing I would possibly do is go for the fastest lap. But I guess that's why I don't have near 10,000 I rating like he does. But, I mean, absolutely on point his race as well. I mean, created the gap when he needed to, obviously got help from his teammate, but even if it wasn't for the help, Andrew, I feel like that gap would have increased naturally.
So Juan Blanat not really able to do a whole lot at this point in the race. Let's go on board here. He's chasing Nicolas Rubilar, and if he can catch car 7, maybe he hangs on to the championship here. It's going to be very close without.
Yeah, this is going to be really, really close. Wow, I mean, I just don't know how close it is, Andrew. Unfortunate. It would be nice if we had the Formula 1 style live point settings, you know, just knowing exactly what the conditions are. But, you know, for the pace that Juan is putting in, I can just assume he needs to pass Rubilar to win the championship.
So, I believe, looking at results right now, I believe it's 48 for second, and 47 for third, and 50 for the win. So it's a 4-point spread between Gustavo and Juan Blanat by points they're earning in this race. I'm not certain on the pole points. Oh boy.
How many overall victories does Juan have?
Last week at VIR, Zolder, Red Bull Ring. Wait, no. Whatever was prior to that.
Yeah, I think Red Bull Ring was Gustavo, I think.
Got one. I think I might only have one, actually.
Oh.
I was rubbing my eye that entire time. I had an eyelash invading my eyeball, so that was part of it. But I believe it's actually only got one from VIR last week.
And Gustavo has at least
Gustavo...
He won a Red Bull Ring, as far as I remember.
He's got one. That was in race number 4. It was Andre at Red Bull.
Oh, okay.
Gustavo has only won one race. Juan has only won one race. So the tiebreaker between wins would come down to Gustavo at this point with the win tonight. Man, again, it goes purple.
I mean, where is he finding all this space?
Well, it's the shedded weight from his other two monitors right now. So I'm going to go back, actually, and go back, if I can, to, like, race 1, and see if I can't figure out how we're looking as far as points earned. The points, like, I guess format has not changed much. Yeah, I believe it's 48 or 49 for second. I'm trying to confirm. I'm trying desperately to confirm. Stand by. Regardless, I mean, this is going to be about tied, I think.
Yeah, this is kind of coming down to the line. The gap between Juan and Rubelar is remaining the same. I mean, it's just stuck at 1.7. Both of them running the exact same pace at this point. And, yeah, I mean, if it comes down to the tiebreaker, Gustavo is going to have the advantage just due to this win.
There's at least 2 bonus points available. I believe it's 50 for the win, 48 for second, 47 for third. So Juan currently is 3 points down just by race points. It's difficult to theorize as far as bonus points, but I believe pole and a 0x give you 2. And that would do it for Gustavo. That would put him ahead by 1 point. If it's just pole, I believe they're tied. The tiebreaker of wins goes to Gustavo. And if the tiebreaker is something else, then it could go to Juan. It's so tough to say right now. I don't want to speak too officially, but as they stand, not knowing how many actually hang on. Let me go back over to Twitch. This will tell me. I see 0 incidents for Gustavo currently.
Yep.
I think he's 1 point ahead.
How about at a championship coming down to a point?
Maybe. Hang on. I'm trying to think, actually. 52 to 47. No, that's tied. Where is my brain awry here? So it would be a 3-point spread. The pole would be a point. Yeah, they might be tied, actually. In which case, still, Gustavo gets the tiebreaker. I think. the games they've played today. This is incredible. So, for a recap, now that I've gone through my thinking, so what we believe is the case is that Gustavo Ariel has a max points tonight of 52 points. We believe Juan Blanat should earn 47 tonight. It's 50 for first, 48 for second, and 47 for third from what I can tell, and I believe that is accurate. It's a bonus point, I believe, for pole, and a bonus point, I believe, for a 0x. That's 52. So 50 plus 2 was 52. That is a 5-point spread over Nicolas Rubelar, or over rather Juan Blanat, which is exactly what he needs to even the standings. That then goes down to what we would assume would be a tiebreaker between wins. That's usually what happens in that case, as I'm sure a lot of you guys watching are aware, and in most motorsport, I think that's usually what it comes down to. That would go the way of Gustavo tonight with this second win of the season. I believe this is only his second win. So this is very much coming down to a tiebreaker scenario between these two. The way Full-Time Esports has run this race, this is insane.
This is absolutely insane, Andrew. I'm just following live, trying to figure out what exactly has happened. And, I mean, it's just coming down to the final few laps of the race. And, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go. I saw a bunch of people commenting on Tony's stream. And I wonder, did Gustavo get us an instant point on these final few laps?
And to be clear, I'm not clear on the bonus points. It could be for a fastest lap, it could be whatever, and it might even be one for the fastest lap. I'm not perfectly clear on that. So I don't want you to take my word as absolute, 2 points for 0x, 2 points for top qualifier. If that's accurate, and again, we have to get clarification from Scott Rice with how close this is going to be. If that's accurate, I mean, that's far and away Gustavo's got the championship. And oh, look at this! Oh! Was that contact? Pierre Thompson and Brian Zinn have an incident in turn 7. I think he got by fine, but certainly a scare.
I think that was a 0x. Wow.
Thank you, Arcus. There's only so much I can do with everything I have going on. There's only so many resources I can exhaust. We'll wait for official confirmation regardless of the points count, because drops are going to change things. And that's what I'm scared of. I don't think the drops are going to change. I don't see why they would, but I don't want to speak officially until it's official, until I get word. There's one thing I have to focus on, and that's a broadcast. I don't want to speak too officially on points that I'm not in control of as we take the white flag presented by Whiplash Simcams.
The final lap for Gustavo final lap to drive. He drove perfectly for the last 48 minutes, 49 minutes. He just needs to do it once more, Andrew. He can even take it very, very safe. He has a 4.3 second gap. And Juan Blanat, unfortunately, it looks like he's not going to be able to catch up to Nicolas Rubilar. That gap is still around 1 point. Actually, it came down to 1.4 seconds. As you can see, the number 23, it looks like he was taking in a bit of fuel. And that's going to give Bruno another position. But yeah, tonight, it was the night, Andrew. It was all that mattered. Gustavo needed to win and needed to take pole and needed to have a clean race. That's exactly what he did. Blanat, unfortunately, looks like might just come up short. Obviously, keyword might.
Meanwhile, Paulo Godai further behind us. There's this battle behind him. Paulo is going to come away with the Pro-Am win. Well, the Pro-Am Championship anyway. Scott Kimbrough is going to win in Pro-Am competition as long as everything holds, and Paulo Godai will certainly win in this championship. It was never really in doubt as Gustavo Ariel works around Yungsao. Is that correct? Yungsao? Close enough. As car 15 will get back on the throttle for the final time this season, and he will drive himself, JP, to a checkered flag. Call us to the finish.
Absolutely. Tudo que ele precisava fazer, conseguiu, liderou todas as voltas, quase todas as voltas, volta mais rápida, uma corrida limpa, pole position. Gustavo Ariel, número 15, vem para ganhar no Brasil, fez tudo que deveria. Now, Andrew, we wait for the stewards, we wait for the confirmation. Nicolas Rubilar is going to come home in second place. Juan Blanat is going to come home in third. And now, Andrew, we played a daring waiting game. Now we're going to have quite a bit of waiting to go. Obviously, Paulo Godai também, como ele pediu para falar em português para ele, aqui estou para liderar o campeonato, para liderar a última curva. Veio para a linha de chegada para ganhar o campeonato Pro-Am da NARL. Que corrida que ele fez, que campeonato que ele fez. Dominou, ganhou. Meus parabéns, Paulo. There we go. Thank you very much, Andrew, for the spot.
Paulo Godai comes across and takes Pro-Am Championship honors, second in class in the race. Blake Scott will be the final car to the start-finish line to end our season. And the season on the track, at least, is official. Now, what happens with results, we cannot guarantee, as Tony Kanaan gets relegated to a 17th place finish. I believe he took an incident penalty there on the final lap and is now credited with 17th as opposed to 13th. That promotes everybody behind him, of course, up one position, at least the back end of the lead lap. And we believe that Gustavo is your champion, but we do not have official word. We do not want to give official word or any word until we know. And we just want to make that clear. Gustavo won tonight. He should be the champion by our unofficial count. But we do not want to make any assumptions. Let's go ahead and at least, though, JP, go through our race results.
Absolutely. Gustavo Ariel, the number 15, takes victory at Interlagos ahead of the number 7 of Nicolas Rubilar. Juan Blanat, the championship leader, coming up to Interlagos, finishes in third place and ahead of Bryce Rodriguez in fourth. A 9-second gap between them, Andrew. Quite a big gap between the top 3 and 4th place. Fabio Zamperlini, a good race from him, is going to finish in the 5th place ahead of the number 14 of Bruno do Carmo. Marcos Nunez is going to finish in 7th place after a late pit stop to put a bit more fuel in his car. Scott Kimbrough is going to win the Pro-Am class ahead of the Pro-Am champion, Paulo Godai. And 10th place, we're going to have the number 182 of Rodrigo Lepre.
I have official word from Scott Reister, the man himself. Gustavo is your champion.
There we go. Now, on the stream, he was celebrating quite a bit. As you mentioned, we are not going to give the official word, but There we go. We have the confirmation. What a drive from the number 15.
Finishing 11th tonight, Reed Gibson in car 112 over Mike Galbraith and John Sedlak. Justin Sangos 14th, Lucas Souza 15th. Blake Scott 16th and Tony Kanaan relegated to 17th position there at the end. Brian Zinn and Pierre Thompson go one lap down. Arthur Leist finishes, is credited with 20th after not finishing this evening, and only 2 cars remain, Scott Reister and Mark Scott. So JP, tell the world in Portuguese, Gustavo is your champion per official word from Scott Reister.
Então, gente, para todos vocês que estavam esperando a palavra oficial, Scott Reister definiu, né, com toda a contagem dos pontos, que o Gustavo Ariel acabou ganhando o campeonato da NRL. Alguns pontos, a diferença não foi grande, mas ele é o grande campeão.
Bravo, Gustavo. That's all I have to say. Bravo, Full-Time Esports, really. Fantastic work. They did everything they had to do. They understood the assignment this evening. They did everything they had to do, JP. They put Gustavo first. They put Juan far enough down to make the difference. That's how you do it.
Absolutely. That's all you needed to do. He scored more points, Andrew. I mean, not a lot more points, we don't think, but just enough to edge out. But, I mean, we need to give praise as well to the number 89. What a season he had as well. Just unfortunate that he was just only one car against 3 full-time esports drivers. They threw everything at him. He tried everything he could, but unfortunately it wasn't enough.
JP, you have the honors this evening. Gustavo Ariel is standing by. Full-time esports driver has just claimed a championship in Brazil.
Bom, Gustavo, finalmente falando com o campeão, ficou para o último minuto a confirmação. A gente não sabia para qual lado que esse campeonato ia balançar, mas acabou indo para o seu. Como é que estão as emoções aí?
Fala, boa noite aí, pessoal. Cara, as emoções estão flor da pele. Aconteceu uma coisa no começo da prova que me deixou um pouco com medo ali, que meu jogo ele minimizou no meio da primeira volta, por isso que deu um bug lá. E aí, nossa, eu mantive o volante reto, o jogo deu aquela travada, foi para um lado pro outro. E na hora que eu voltei o carro tava reto, graças a Deus. E eu consegui também, mesmo, e com isso minimizou, eu fiquei numa tela só. Então eu fiz a corrida inteira numa tela só, na tela do meio ali, meio estranho, né, as 3 telas em uma. Então consegui ainda fazer 0x, a equipe manteve calmo, falou foca aí, faz o teu. E consegui, graças a Deus, na minha pista favorita, trazer esse título para casa. Cara, eu tô muito feliz mesmo, tô muito feliz. Quero agradecer demais aí a Full Time, aos patrocinadores B8 Seguros, Logitech, também o pessoal da Prislab, da Luporini, brigadão aí a quem nos apoia, o pessoal da Twitch também. Demais, valeu.
Com certeza. E vindo para essa corrida, como é que foi o preparo? Como é que foi toda essa preparação, todo o treino, acho que até o psicológico para aguentar tudo que veio acontecer no campeonato, para tudo vir para a última corrida?
Então, isso é muito interessante porque a preparação como é a minha pista favorita, né, e a gente é brasileiro, os parceiros de equipe, é um pouco mais tranquilo pra gente entrar no ritmo, né, da coisa. Então, a gente conseguiu fazer bastante treino ontem. Hoje também, antes da corrida, abri 2, 3 servidores ali pra gente pegar a mão, né. Mas como o setup é fixo, a gente só afinou a guiada e veio pra cima aqui. Então, foi maravilhoso. Foi uma coisa assim que a gente sabia exatamente o que tinha que fazer, né? Sabia a que posição tinha que chegar, né? Como é que ia ter que ser o ritmo da corrida para poder ser campeão. 0x eu achei que ia ser impossível de fazer. E nas condições que a gente estava, com uma tela só ainda, consegui fazer 0x e ganhar a corrida. Então, maravilhoso. E eu tô muito feliz.
E qual que foi a estratégia de botar volta mais rápida atrás de volta mais rápida, mesmo sabendo que você precisava desse 0x? Eu mencionei que eu, na minha sã consciência, nunca ia tentar fazer isso, mas você parecia só se sentir confortável fazendo isso.
Então, como é uma pista assim que eu me sinto muito confortável, muito bem, pra mim foi tranquilo, sabe? Se eu aliviasse o ritmo, ia ser pior pra mim, sabe? Se eu aliviasse o ritmo, eu ia desconcentrar, ia poder dar o incidente, entendeu? Então, quando eu me senti depois mais ou menos do pit stop ali, a partir, sei lá, da 10ª volta eu me senti muito confortável, né? Baixou os ânimos ali do que aconteceu no começo. Eu consegui focar bastante e eu cuidei nas curvas que eram mais prováveis de dar off-track, né? No lago ali na junção. E o resto ali consegui encaixar bons setores. Não sei se eu fiz a volta mais rápida da corrida, tanto que eu fiquei até sem o caps, né? Porque eu tirei, eu peguei o mouse aqui no meio da reta na 5ª volta e tirei o caps e tava travando meu jogo. Meu simulador, né? Então consegui, não sei como, tirar forças para poder fazer volta mais rápida atrás de volta mais rápida em condições desfavoráveis aqui. Tanto que a live na Twitch ficou preta, né? Que uma tela só não aparecia. E o pessoal ficou até o fim, então com emoção foi essa.
Com certeza. E agora eu vou deixar tu aproveitar toda essa emoção, deixar você curtir com seus companheiros de equipe. E vou desejar aqui meus parabéns novamente ao mais novo campeão da NRL.
Obrigado, eu quero agradecer aí todo mundo da equipe, né? O Barreto, o Tony, o Bruno do Carmo, o Arthur Leite, o Pedro Moura, nosso engenheiro. Todo mundo que se esforça para a gente poder alcançar os nossos resultados, né? O Gui da B8 Seguros, o pessoal da Logitech, novamente, né, falando. Então, também quero agradecer o pessoal aí em inglês, né? So, thank you all guys. Thank you so much for letting me race here. So, I don't talk English so much, but yeah, I'm really, really happy and hope racing the next championship too. So, thank you everyone and good night.
Absolutely. And Andrew, well, that was our champion. Quite a long interview, but quite a lot to take away. Obviously, I guess the big point was the issue you mentioned that I guess everybody mentioned at the beginning of the race for Gustavo. What happened is, well, his sim just decided to, just minimize mid-race. He just said he held on the steering wheel just pretty much straight and pretty much just sprayed, and then he was able to get it back. Obviously, just one screen instead of three, and yeah, just focused back on the race. Obviously, he mentioned that the nerves were quite, on his skin after the incident, as I think everybody would, but after the pit stops, he was just able to get back on the rhythm, and that's why we saw him posting fastest lap after fastest lap of the race. He was just on his own, he was on his element, and he did an excellent job. He said if he backed off a little bit to go safe, he was probably gonna make a mistake, and who knows, maybe get that incident points. Talking about practice, he mentioned just by being Brazil, obviously it's a bit of a natural track for us. He raced here in real life, and he did so on the sim as well, practicing yesterday and today as well. Just put in a whole lot of laps, trying to simulate each and every single scenario, and he did so. And that's pretty much it. He's extremely happy with the result. You could see him from the stream. He was just celebrating. Now I'm pretty sure he's going to be celebrating even harder. But yeah, a well-deserved championship for him. I mean, a fantastic race.
We'll move things on down the line to Scott Kimbrough, who takes a win tonight, a race win in Pro-Am. And Scott, it's got to feel pretty good, at least to end this season on a high note. Not what you wanted as far as the championship goes, but to leave Brazil a race winner over some Brazilians, it's got to feel great.
Hey guys, how you doing? Yep, it sure does, especially not only to beat all those guys that are really, really fast, but for my own benefit, just feeling like I did a good job at a track that I'm generally not very good at. So pretty happy about that, and I came prepared with a fork and a plate so I could eat my words that I told you from last week, because it was pretty unexpected for sure.
Seems like you're regularly talking to us now as a Pro-Am driver. Does this mean a pro campaign's on the way?
Absolutely not. I just told Scott Reister that I'd be headed into retirement before you see me hit the pro level. Probably not. I'd love to get faster, and as long as I can keep pushing myself, that's all I can ask for. And no matter whether I win, lose, or draw, I'm happy as can be to have a great group of guys with the Empire group to race with and have a great time here on iRacing with. So I do want to say thank you to Scott, the whole group at NARL for doing a great job with this series and making it something that's really enjoyable to be a part of, and thank all of you guys at Pit Stop for the incredible broadcast. It's been a fun season. I'm looking forward to the Watkins Glen 24.
Speaking of, Scott, we'll see you there. Thanks so much for your time. Congratulations on a season well done. A win tonight. We'll talk to you more, I think, for our 24 next weekend, May the 14th and 15th. We'll see you at Watkins Glen, buddy.
So thanks very much, guys.
We'll get Scott Kimbrough on his way. Let him enjoy his evening. We'll talk to him more in a couple of weekends. But for now, JP, Paulo Goday, next up, just won a championship in Pro-Am. He's got to be feeling good.
Então, Paulo, falando de acabei de terminar de falar com o Gustavo, que foi campeão na Pro. Você foi campeão na Pro-Am. Você já veio para a corrida hoje como campeão. Muito difícil ter perdido o campeonato, mas isso afetou de algum jeito a tua corrida hoje?
Boa noite, João. Boa noite a todo mundo que tá na cabine. Verdade, a gente já veio para Interlagos definida. Na última etapa a gente conseguiu pontuar bastante para que mesmo que a gente tivesse um abandono aqui hoje, fosse possível o campeonato. Mas isso não define a corrida de forma nenhuma. Hoje eu vim com a cabeça de mesmo assim disputar normal, mostrar ritmo, tentar. Por mais que Interlagos seja a pista da nossa casa, digamos aqui, não é uma pista que eu me sinto muito confortável, né? Sei, conheço, mas ainda não me sinto 100% confortável no pace, mas deu para tirar esse resultado mesmo assim. Vim poupando na primeira parte da corrida, então eu entro no pit, faço um pit bem mais rápido, né, que me proporcionou ali galgar, sair um pouco do Gibson e também até ultrapassar um companheiro aqui do Brasil, que também teve um problema no pit, mas que andou muito. Mas é isso, eu acho que é uma corrida, depois que eu percebi que já começou todo mundo ficar no mesmo pace, fazer os trenzinhos ali, né? Então a ideia era só manter o ritmo e trazer o carro para casa, já na cabeça que independente do resultado a gente tinha esse campeonato pra gente hoje.
E, obviamente, com esse campeonato, quão difícil foi? Você já veio como campeão, mas quão emocionante foi as últimas voltas sabendo que o campeonato estava acabando e você ia ser o campeão?
Isso aí é a parte mais bacana da coisa, né? Eu me lembro como se fosse hoje, eu vendo o Fabio Zamperlini correndo aqui e eu de fora, né? Curtindo o campeonato pelas transmissões, né? Curtindo o campeonato por ele. E aí eu venho, participo, né? Entro, vou lá na Porsche Cup, consigo bons resultados também. Venho aqui na GT3, cara, um grid incrível, né? Um grid que toda etapa tem uma surpresa, digamos assim. Tem alguém que tá rápido, tem alguém que tá fora da curva e a gente tem que remar, tem que treinar, tem que fazer de tudo para conseguir resultado. De longe não foi fácil. Foi até difícil para mim, né? Dividir o tempo ali com a Porsche Cup e tal. A gente corre também os campeonatos aqui dentro do Brasil. Então, cara, gratificante demais, né? O tempo que eu tô evoluindo aqui dentro do simulador e conseguindo mostrar resultado na pista, mas foi muito top. Terminar esse campeonato e terminar dentro de Interlagos também é um presente.
Com certeza. E a última pergunta, o que a gente pode esperar de você agora? Uma promoção pro Pro? Podemos te esperar na próxima temporada?
Sim, acredito que sim, né? Agora a próxima temporada a gente já não é mais Hulk aqui, né? Então a gente vai cair lá na Pro. E, cara, manter o mesmo ritmo, manter a mesma pegada de treino, né? Junto com o pessoal aqui. E vamos lá, vamos pra cima. O que der pra trazer, a gente vai trazer. Galgando devagarzinho o treino, pé no chão. E a gente vai chegar lá. Com o tempo a gente chega lá.
Com certeza, Paulo. Dito isso, eu vou deixar você aproveitar teu campeonato, agora teu título, né? Não mais o campeonato. E espero falar contigo nas próximas oportunidades. Meus parabéns, viu? E até a próxima.
Muito obrigado. Eu quero agradecer só no final aqui, João. Obviamente, porque eu venho falando todas as etapas. A questão dos brasileiros, né? Que a gente teve junto ali o tempo todo. Eu quero agradecer também a equipe, a Brad King. Meu novo parceiro, a KTF. E que tem nos apoiado aí. Sem eles, obviamente, não tem como estar aqui correndo, tá? Obrigado pela parceria, obrigado pelos patrocínios, pela força aí que estão sempre dando e todos os brasileiros que deram tudo aqui pra estar representando o Brasil no meio de um grid tão violento como esse. Obrigado.
Com certeza. So, Andrew, that was Paulo, that was our Pro-Am champion, and obviously, he mentioned about the race, he mentioned even though it's his home track, he doesn't feel 100% comfortable, which, to be honest, I got quite surprised when I heard that, but, each and every single driver has their own preferences, but he said he wasn't really comfortable. He tried to keep up a good pace, and he did so, saving up quite a bit of fuel on the first stint just to be comfortable. On the second one, he passed Reed Gibson, and as soon as he realized, everybody was on the same pace, that was it. He just decided to bring the car home. No point in risking whatsoever, and that was pretty much it. On the final few laps, I asked him, how did it feel knowing you were the champion, and he mentioned that he remembers watching us cover Fabio's championship. He remembered watching, and now obviously he's on the shoes to become the Pro-Am champion. So that was a fun little thing to hear. And yeah, now he's obviously going for Pro next season, and he's pretty much excited for the new opportunities. And I mean, he should be. What a fantastic championship he put in on both the both the Porsche Cup and the GT3 season, and obviously becoming champion here.
There's a lot of comments, a lot of opinions certainly out in the YouTube chat, and I don't want to discredit anybody's thoughts. I don't want to discredit anybody's feelings about this championship, but I think the one point that needs to ring true for everybody is, by the rules, with this North American Racing League, Gustavo Ariel and Full-Time Esports win the championship. That's really all there is to it. And I can certainly understand the frustration for Juan Blanat on behalf of Juan Blanat I don't want to use this term because it comes with such negative connotations, JP, but team orders, such obvious team orders. That said, it's perfectly, from what we can tell, perfectly allowable. I mean, it is what it is, as many people have said in the chat, and let's just try and keep it civil, guys, in this discussion, and whether it be in our YouTube chat or any other medium, let's just try and keep it civil, because we're all here on a simulator having fun. At the end of the day, it technically is a game. So, yes, I think everybody's feelings, everybody's opinions are perfectly valid, one way or the other. But let's just keep it civil. Let's keep it kind. Hey, we all had a great season. We all had a great championship, be it this race or the 7 prior. And let's be honest as well. Juan Blanat could have scored a few positions higher in any other race this season, and he would have had the championship. And likewise, Gustavo could have placed a few positions lower, a few positions higher, and everything would be different. Andre Melchers could have been here and dominated tonight and won the championship outright. There's so many different ways that things could have gone. Let's just keep it civil, keep it kind. Let's be smart. Let's be adults here. It is what it is. Per everything that's gone on, per league official word, Gustavo's the champion, and I think that's what matters, and certainly earned it as well. I don't think there's any asterisk. You can have your opinion or what have you, but he has the championship. He will get the money. He will get the prizes, and that's that, quite simply. So, yeah, I think it's perfectly fair to have whatever opinions or whatnot, but the fact is, Gustavo did still win the championship. It is by the league. That is how it stands. That was everything. Tonight was allowed. It was obvious team orders, but that's because the team looked at an opportunity to have these team orders and secure a championship, and they did exactly that, JP.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess there's no going around it. Obviously, if you're the lone car entry and you're battling against a full team, it could be frustrating. It's just it's just what it is. Juan was alone. He didn't have teammates to essentially back him up and obviously have that team game to play in his favor. And obviously Gustavo did, but that did not take away from the fact that Gustavo was the fastest in qualifying. That did not take away that Gustavo was fastest during the race. And obviously, as you mentioned, it could have gone a whole different way throughout the championship. Recall last week, Gustavo had issues. He had plenty. He ran out of fuel, I guess. He even had to take a second pit stop, if I recall correctly. So that took away precious points for him, and Juan had a perfect race. So, it's just the championship shaped up, and obviously the finale, it just went Gustavo's way. Juan did a fantastic championship. He probably came up 1 or 2 points short, so still something to be very, very proud of. Obviously, it did not go your way, but you can come next season, and you can definitely try it again. You can definitely come back even stronger. But, it's a championship, and unfortunately for Juan, it went Gustavo's way.
And for Juan, I think this is a wake-up call. Bring teammates. Rincon Racing, get in here. Get more of your drivers in this championship and go at it next season and put something together for the title. I think that's a perfect wake-up call to Rincon Racing, Juan Blanat, everybody over that operation, very active on Twitter. A big shout-out as well to Rincon Racing and Juan Blanat and all of his teammates. They've been very active on Twitter, interacting with our posts, making their own, and that is always noticed and appreciated by us here at PitStopTV. So definitely, I think anytime an esports team like that is this fast and this popular and acknowledges us and the efforts that we put in to present them and their races, that is always certainly appreciated. Let's go ahead and wrap things up, though, this evening and this season. Another look at the schedule quickly, JP. This is how we got here. Road Atlanta, Sebring, Long Beach, Red Bull Ring, Zolder, Charlotte, Virginia, and Interlagos. 8 great racetracks, 8 great races, and it all boiled down to Brazil.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so much fun when it comes to the final few laps of the race, of this final race of the season. It was a fantastic championship. I don't think, Andrew, the schedule can become any better. I'm sure, for the next season, they're going to try to throw one or another race in there, but it has just been a fantastic schedule, a fantastic season, full of ups and downs. And, I cannot wait for the next season. I cannot wait for the 24 we're going to have. And, it's just promising.
Let's check out upcoming broadcasts one more time here at PitStopTV. This is what we have in the next few days. In fact, these are our next 3 broadcasts. First up, 9 p.m. Eastern on Sunday evening, it is the throwback race for the MPI Cup Series at Darlington Raceway, the track that's too tough to tame. The Lady in Black, a lot of throwback schemes already unveiled on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and there's a lot more that you'll be able to see if you follow us along. So those links at the bottom of the screen, you can't quite click them. You'll have to type them in or type in the username anyways, but go to them, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, and of course, subscribe to us on YouTube. That would be appreciated. And follow along for those throwback reveals. There's a bunch of them. There's a lot of really cool paints. And even before this broadcast, we had some unveiled for Judd Danielson and Casey Knighton. One of those being Davey Allison's very famous 1987 paint, and the other being Dick Trickle's number 84, Miller High Life paint scheme. I believe it was on an Oldsmobile. Regardless, a lot of great paint schemes coming out for that race. You'll want to tune in as well as check out the throwback schemes. And then on Tuesday, look at that. We've got BSR right back here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. That's in Brazelton, Georgia. A lot of great racing action. That's Miatas. The Mazda Miata, which, little 4-cylinder, fantastic for racing. Always brings great draft battles. We saw that at Watkins Glen this past week. And hey, then we're right back at Watkins Glen International on the boot configuration with the Outlaw Sim Series. And of course, then Thursday afternoon, we have BSR TC. And then again on Sunday, we'll have MPI Cup Series action at Kansas, but before we get there, actually, that's where we have that 24-hour race with the North American Racing League. So we're not completely done with NARL. We still have a 24-hour race to go, and that'll be a whole lot of fun, but we got to get all the way there first. So a lot of places to keep up with us at PitStopTV, and they will be very important in the next week and a half.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only live coverage and obviously the updates we're going to have, all the news and everything on Facebook.com/PitStopTV, Twitter.com/PitStopTV_, Instagram.com/Pit_Stop_TV, and YouTube.com/PitStopTV1.
So again, this season comes down definitely to teammates. If you're Juan Blanat right now, you don't want to talk about Bruno, and it's a shout out back to Zach Rosar making the joke earlier. And I told you my girlfriend will like that. She's walked in the door recently and just gave me a look. But yeah, we don't talk about Bruno. It's just Gustavo and Juan, really, and when it comes down to it. Positioning. I think if Juan had qualified on pole, he could have been in a better position. If he had more teammates, could have been differently. And even with the full-time esports teammates out there, I think if he had just changed one little thing in a few different races or even one race, hey, the whole season changes. So it is what it is. A championship is a season. It's not just one race, and at any point, a few more points could have gone one way or the other, and all of this would be completely different, JP. That's what you have to focus on, I think. And for Juan Blanat, I think come back next season with some teammates, come back reinvigorated and go after it one more time. For Gustavo, come back with more teammates and try and defend, because I think the game is going to be stepped up when we unload at some time in the summer or fall. That is it this season for the North American Racing League. That is it for us at PitStopTV this evening. It has been a ton of fun. JP, do you have any final words, comments, concerns, anything here as we wrap up a great season of racing?
I'm ready for the 24. Bring it on.
Well, we'll see all of you then on May 14th. That's a Saturday. I believe that's the right date. Yeah, it should be May 14th. We'll have coverage of the North American Racing League Cash Days 24-hour event from Watkins Glen. More info on that will go out on social media. Until then, I'm Andrew Cardinale IV. We've had JP Costa on the mic all season long. With the exception of Zolder, Zach Murtis filled in. Thanks there. And we've had Emerson Arden on social media literally all season long. A big shout out to Emerson. It's been a fun night. It's been a fun season, but we must bid you adieu, must bid you farewell. We'll see you next time here at PitStopTV.